Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We like to call it a freak flag, feel good, fake it till you make it. Ric Flair, woo! 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. You got to try it every now and then. You just got to give a Ric Flair woo. You'd be really surprised what it does for your spirit. All right, we'll get into a lot on the show today. Cowboys discussion. We'll hear from Brandon Cooks, and there's talk Cowboys can have the best defense in the land. We'll also get into those Madden ratings. Another 99 given out. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, so it won't be any surprise. And the Commanders sale is final. One of the most hated, despicable owners in the history of pro sports in America is no longer in charge. We'll get to that coming up. Also, we'll talk about some Texas football. X-Men getting compared to an NFL wide receiver, which makes a lot of sense. Also, my man Chip Brown's got some insider reports. We'll get into that. Texas basketball, a little conference schedule revealed. Got a little tidbits about that. So we'll talk about that for the men's basketball team. Also, we'll get into some other news, notes, and nuggets. Astros, go Stros, going up against the A's and the Rangers. Big series. I keep saying that again. Feel like we said that last series versus the Rays, another big series versus the Dodgers coming up, so we'll discuss that as well. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres to chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for him it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, brother?
What it do? It is a 512 Friday. I'm really excited about that because the weekend is here. And I can't wait to celebrate the weekend. But let me talk about my man that sits across from me. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babels.
I appreciate that intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP of the show. We like to call him the Idealionaire, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We're not sure what he's paid, but we're pretty damn sure he's underpaid. It's Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, Patrick?
Doing good. We made it to Barbenheimer weekend.
Barbenheimer weekend. That's a good one.
Wow.
That's what everybody's talking about.
Half of that I want to see. I want to see Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in seeing Oppenheimer. If it's available, I know they're probably going to have it like a week where it's not available, like for streaming.
Yeah.
You got to go to the theaters. But as soon as it's available to stream, I'm not going to the theaters to see it. But as soon as it's available to stream, I want to stream. I might pay the money. I want to see it. I really do. I mean, but Barbie, I can't. No. What's no? That would be creepy for me.
Well,
why would I want to go see Barbie?
I don't think it's that kind of movie.
I don't have kids. I don't have kids.
I have a daughter.
I don't have kids, and my wife is not into that. So for me,
you're
Rod
good.
B,
Yeah.
it's no reason for Rod B to want to really. What am I going to see it? And now Margot Robbie is worth watching for a couple
But not
hours.
as Barbie.
I'm not going to pay no.
Not see that. Not Ryan Gosling. Not Will Ferrell.
No, she's awesome though. I love me so. I was just watching actually. Have you guys seen I, Tonya?
No.
I have not watched Titanic.
It is her finest work. It is Margot Robbie's finest work, no question.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's not even close, in my opinion. You cannot give me a better Margot Robbie performance than I, Tonya. It is fantastic. I watched it again. I was like, damn.
He said, I
She was
watched it
so
again.
good. I watched it this weekend. I was like, I forgot how good it was. She was amazing. She just still like she takes up all the room on the screen. There's no room for anybody else. And it's still a great cast. They do a really good job. All the other characters, but she is just, dude.
That's awesome.
You need to watch it, Harge.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta go check it out.
I'm in.
It was at the beginning of our 24-hour news cycle. So our obsession with having something to talk about, and then boom, the Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding thing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
And I was there for the most of that. So,
hey, we all were. Oh,
I was around for all of that.
Patrick's actually young. I forget Patrick's younger because he's an old
I remember when it happened.
You remember, like it was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in on that.
It was one of those things where everyone's like, we care about ice skating for a while.
For
Like,
just
do you
a
really?
wee bit.
Well, yeah, of course, when it's about ice skaters who are, plotting against one another.
Organized crimes involved.
Yeah.
We're in.
Yeah, that's actually that's something America can get around, can get interested in. But yes, anyway, but we'll get into some other off the record topics in pop culture. But he's right, there's a big discussion right now in pop culture this weekend, the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer, right? Yeah, and I what's that? One of those I really want to see, and I'll try to get to see it as soon as possible. I could go to the theaters by myself.
You
and go
could.
see it this weekend because
Just don't tell nobody.
wife is out of town.
Don't tell nobody. Just
Go
go
to
on your own.
IMAX.
No, I just go early.
Yeah.
Let's go like really early in like the earliest show. Most people don't go to the earliest show available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be that guy.
Okay.
I went to the movies by myself a lot in the league.
I mean, we
in
all
the NFL, that's all I did.
Well, because that's all
Yeah.
you got time for.
Well, because I never was with a team long enough to hang out and kick it a long time. So sometimes
No,
I end
wait.
up by
So
myself.
if you go to a movie by yourself, do you still go like a more upscale place and get there where there's food and drink and a nicer chair?
Yeah, no
or
doubt.
do you just go to regular theater and you're like, well, I'm just going by myself? so.
No. I still go upscale, man. You got to
Okay.
do it the right way.
Okay.
If there's an Alamo Draft House type situation,
Yes.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, that's the
I know.
way to go.
I saw that. I think the South Lamar location just upgraded their seats.
Yeah, you got. I mean, who watches movies the regular way anymore? With just the
I don't
regular
go to watch
theater.
movies at all. So.
That's a very good point.
You stopped going to movie theaters.
I started going to movies
even the really nice
around
ones.
2002, 2003. I was like, I did it. It's been done.
So even the luxury theaters, you don't even experience those because you stopped going.
No, I
period.
did.
Yep.
I did work. I ran sound for Master Pancake, who does like the Mystery Science. They make fun of the movies.
And
at
they go
Draft
to
House, and
Alamo
I did
Draft.
that.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
But then I was sitting in the front row because I was running sound.
like the
so it was-
quote alongs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I did that. I did that for a little while.
That is really cool. Yeah, see, these guys done every damn thing. Look at him. Been a mailman, do all kind of stuff. But no, I don't know anybody who would go to just a regular movie theater that doesn't have the luxury accommodations anymore of the. You got your own lazy boy chair where you can kind of lean
Yeah.
back into it, and then you can order food and order drinks and refreshments.
That's the only way we go.
Yeah, is there?
Yeah.
They're just regular. What's the one at the mall here? Can you do that? You can't do that. The one at the mall at Barton Creek, right?
How would I know?
Don't ask Patrick.
Last time
I don't
went,
go to that one anyway.
I think
That's
all
gotta
the
be a-
stores have the last time I went to a movie.
That's
at
like
the Barton Creek
so
Mall.
that's gotta be that Reggie.
Last time I was,
That's that Reggie right there. You know who owned that Reggie? You own that Reggie? Hey, you know what I mean?
man, that stink.
You own that
I don't
Reggie?
even want
That's,
none of that
that's
right
the
there.
regular movie theater, just a regular old movie theater.
That's that Reggie.
No service, no.
That's when you're rolling in with like 6 kids. And you're rolling in, and you're just like, look, y'all just sit down and shut up for
Exactly.
for
You're right.
90 minutes.
That's a great point because the other ones, where they are more luxurious, there's a certain standard expected about
Yeah.
how you're supposed
If
to
I took
behave.
my kids to
Yeah.
a regular movie theater, they would be so mad at me.
I be looking at you sideways.
Like, hey, I know some changes are coming, Dad.
What's
but
happening?
what is that?
What do we get here?
Just
We
sitting there
got,
going
like,
to a regular movie?
Where,
Dad,
who do
where's-
I order my food from, Dad?
Where's
Should have ate before we got here.
hey, your mom got some in her purse.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I still, even into the nice little movie theaters, I still sneak in my own candy. Now it's a pride thing. Now it's a pride thing. I actually go buy stuff from the movie theater too, but I'm gonna sneak in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
It's
me
on
trying to
principle,
get,
right?
Yeah,
It's on principle. It's on
It's
principle.
a shout out to Henry
Yeah,
Babers, my
yeah,
dad. Like, no, we don't
exactly.
sneak in something. When
Yeah.
you sneak in everything back in the day,
I
dad sneaking
bring
in
in
drinks.
my own water.
Oh, man.
My own sugar.
Dude, that's what Dad
and
back
my
in-
lemons.
That's what Dad.
Here you go. You gonna make a
But we
lemon.
sneak in
Shake it up.
Cokes, the big purse. Mama got the big purse. She bring it in
I
for the movie
remember,
theater.
and this had to be 15 years ago. I snuck in a 6-pack into a movie.
A 6-pack.
Well, no, and it was like we were going to see his movie. It was like 11 o'clock showing or something. So it was at night. But we and my buddy are going, and we pull up, and there's a line around all these cops. Like, what is happening? Like, are we gonna be able to do this? And then we realized like Harry Potter was coming out at the same time, and we're like, oh yeah, no one's paying attention to us at all. So we're going to a different
do
movie.
whatever you wanna do.
So we're just like walk past everybody, like y'all have fun over there.
Oh man! Oh, somebody getting on this, guys. They say y'all bougie. I went to the Dollar movie theater in Irving, ultra cheap. So AVD. What about dollar movies? All right. You know what? I have not gone to a dollar movie.
Yeah.
Do dollar movies play recent, current movies like that are out in theaters, or they play older movies?
Yeah,
No, they're
there's
the
stuff
ones
that's
that
been
are-
on
yeah.
streaming for like 6 months
Yeah,
now.
see, now streaming has killed the dollar movie. Well, I'm gonna go sit down in a nasty movie theater where I can sit in the house and get it. You know,
Play
what I
a
mean?
game
Get
on
it
it.
much early,
Yeah,
get it popping. No,
Hey,
exactly.
my crib is the dollar movie theater.
Thank you.
It's called Robbie's House, South Austin.
I don't gotta play a game of what's that smell if I watch it at the house.
I know that smell.
The dollar
walk-
movie. Yeah, they're cleaning the dollar movie theater
Man,
at every
you know that.
show.
You know that. I'm just gonna think of the sound your shoes make at that dollar movie theater, and we all know it. Every one of us knows the sound your shoes make at the
We
dollar
have
theater
been in a dollar
for like a
theater.
week after.
Oh man, yeah, I can't use my. Like I said, that's not even Reggie. That's a different. That's a level below the Reggie. No, I can't do that. No, we yeah. So I haven't. Like I said, I have not been to a regular movie theater. I usually go to the more luxurious ones.
Yeah, I will. I know I can't go. I got kids, and
I
my
think
kids
anybody
would
can.
not know how to
That-
react.
That's like going to the store and like getting medication for a headache and getting regular strength Advil. Like, who the hell is that person?
Who does that?
I don't want to overdo it with this Advil.
There's extra strength. There's maximum strength.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you get the Reggie?
Yep.
Don't get the Reggie. No, at least get extra strength. Get a little oomph.
It's like 3 cents more.
Yeah, come on. They don't, exactly. Advil doesn't even want you to buy the regular. They're like, you got to go to the woman and ask her at the cashier, ma'am, do you have a regular Advil? I'm looking for. She's like, oh, we'll have some in the back, maybe. Nobody ever asked for that. They love the extra and the maximum. I don't know why do you want the Reggie? All right. Anyway, all right. Let's get to it. All right. Let's
Wildin'.
get. I don't know how that got started. Oh, Patrick started. Talk about
always.
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
What is it?
Barbenheimer?
Barbenheimer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened to us.
I might go solo this weekend. I'm gonna check out to see if I can go to the movies and go see Oppenheimer by myself. I could do that early in the morning though, old man style. And then
Right.
sneaking in our own stuff.
And then being pew, back out.
Y'all got pancakes?
Try to get that brunch.
Bring
early
them
on.
on.
All right, let's talk Cowboys here, gentlemen. Cowboys, obviously. High expectations for the Cowboys this season, considering some of the changes that have been made and some of the acquisitions they made in the offseason. Upgraded a lot of positions. Brandon Cooks on offense, we'll hear from him actually, and also Stephon Gilmore on defense at that cornerback position. Even in the draft, first round pick was Mozzie Smith, so they focused on defense there. So there are a lot of really high expectations for the Cowboys. And Ryan Clark, who does a great job on ESPN with. Yeah, he does a lot of different stuff. The NFL matchup, sometimes he's on there. He does a lot of their NFL coverage, and he was speaking about the Dallas Cowboys. And we got the audio here, but Ryan Clark really hounding the Cowboys, even as high as to say that they may be the best defense in the NFL in 2023.
Said it with his chest, too.
Yeah, he did.
And so, RC, would you say that Dallas is has the best defense?
You know what? I'm a football player, so I will say this first off. We got to see them play a game. But sitting right here, right before training camp starts, I believe they have a chance to be the best defense in the entire NFL. And I don't believe there's an argument that can be put up for that. When you look at Micah Parsons now making that full transition, training the entire offseason simply to rush the passer, imagine how much better he can be that now he's not trying to play 2 positions each and every week. Mina talked to you about the depth that they now have in the secondary, when last year, you know what it was? Hey, throw it away from 7. If we throw it away from 7, we are at least safe. But Deron Bland showed you down toward the end of the season that he can be a factor at the nickel position, and you had a former defensive player of the year. Dan Quinn has been sensational as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, so much so people speak of him being the head coach at some point. That's why Mike McCarthy's seat gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And Joe Witt, the pass game coordinator, whether it's blitzes, 2-minute, third down, always seems to be able to find pressure and capitalize by getting the ball back to the offense. I love what this defense is. I love going out and getting Mozzie Smith early in the draft. This team can definitely be the best defense in the entire league, and maybe that's more important than Dak Prescott not throwing 10 interceptions.
Ooh-wee. All right, Harsh. Best defense in the league?
Hey, man, you ain't said nothing I wasn't already thinking. Especially when they went out there and they got Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, that was big.
They needed to go and get him Stephon. We're not doing Urquhart.
Oh, my bad.
We're going Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
As soon as they went out and got him, I thought that was the best part that they would do. Everybody wants to say that they believe that the secondary has gotten better, and he might be a little bit older, though. But that's okay. He's wiser. And then yesterday, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Deron Bland, his emergence in the secondary has been huge. And you know Ryan Clark knows how hard Micah Parsons been working because he works out here at the Collective, and that's where Ryan Clark comes to a lot of times. So he's got a chance to spend time with a lot of these players, get to see them up close and personal. And, again, I love the fact, just like yourself, he said, as a football player, I can say this, but I got to watch them play. They got to go out there and perform.
Gotta prove it.
But they, on paper and what you've seen, the ability, oh, yeah. Dan Quinn, he loves what he's seeing from these boys.
Yeah, no, the Cowboys, this is their top 5 defense the last 2 years in the NFL, so they've been trending this way, and now you have a first-round pick that is, going to be one of the remedies, one of your possible remedies to one of your 2 biggest issues and liabilities last year on defense. It was right up the interior rush defense, all right up the interior gut of your defense and your rush defense. You got Jonathan Hankins via trade, which was awesome, but he dealt with an injury, and when he was out, it was pretty noticeable.
Went back to who you were.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it exposed and then left Leighton Vander Esch vulnerable, and he actually dealt with an injury too. And those were your biggest issues in your rush defense, and it allowed you, at least it made you, I should say, vulnerable in your rush defense last season. But they shored that up. They brought back Leighton Vander Esch, drafted a linebacker in DeMarvion Overshown, all right, and they got other linebackers, of course, that are coming back this season for him too, and they drafted a defensive tackle first
Mozzie
round.
Smith.
Yeah, so to make sure, and they brought back Jonathan Hankins.
Yep.
So they gave themselves options to solve the problems that they had last season with the interior rush defense. And then, of course, you brought up Stephon.
Yep.
All right, and he'll be Steven if he doesn't play well. But just like the
For
Steven
sure.
we got down here. But
For real.
Stephon Gilmore, former defensive player of the year. There was another big issue, right? They couldn't find a solution to the cornerback spot opposite Trevon Diggs. They went through like 4, 5, 6 different cornerbacks trying to find the right player there to fit in.
And one of them was Kelvin Joseph.
Yes, it didn't work out there.
Didn't work out.
So they decided, all right, you know what? We're going to get us a surefire remedy, something that's tried, true, proven as a solution for that problem last year. So all the issues that made them a top 5 defense and not the best defense, they solved. Theoretically, they've already solved those. Now, some others could arise that limit this defense or hold them back. But right now, I don't see those. Like, what's the weakness of the Cowboys defense? What's the weakness? Point out the weakness to me.
I don't think there is one, and I think what the one weakness was depth. Well, they addressed it. They addressed the depth part of it because of what you said. When one guy was out, you could see the difference. It was being exposed. Now you're providing depth all the way around. It goes back. Again, here we go with the parallel lives of the Dallas Cowboys and the Texas Longhorns. They're the same. And what they were lacking for quite a while was depth at each position. Well, now they have gone out and got that, especially on the defensive side. You brought up DeMarvion Overshown, but let's not forget, Jabril Cox and Damone Clark were there. And now they're another year in the system. So now they're going to be better. They're going to be able to read and react a lot quicker. You talked about the secondary part of it. Donovan Wilson, they got him back. They got Jordan Lewis coming back as well. And then you look at J-Ron Kearse, one of your favorite players in the NFL. So top to bottom, I can see it. Now, again, all they have to do is go out there and play at a high level, and then we'll see where they are. But you look at this lineup, they got some depth there. They're going to have to let some people go.
Well, I think that's the deal. I don't think you have to let many people go. I think you're going to find during the season there will be injuries. I think you're going to find that there's – someone's going to not maybe add up to what we thought they were going to be. Maybe somebody regresses that you don't know where it's going to come from. But when you have those situations, the depth is where you need that other person to kind of step up. And it's a long season. I get that a guy like Micah Parsons wants to be on the field every single play because he just doesn't want to take any plays off. So maybe you have to take over and go, hey, Lawrence, we'll take you off for a couple plays. And, hey, over here, we may move you off for a couple plays to just get you some rest during the regular season so that when we get to the playoffs, you're a little bit you're healthier, you're stronger, you're ready to go. And we're one of the healthiest defenses going into the playoffs as well. Gilmore, we saw that he started to fall off. He got that knee surgery to clean up his knee that basically – he was saying he had nagging injuries for several years there. That was one of the reasons why his play started to diminish. He looked better last year. So, and we can all say after the suspensions, the Colts definitely would not have traded him had they known what was coming.
That's a great point.
So I think for the Cowboys, you're looking
Snooze, you lose.
You're looking really good. And now it's a question of, all right, it's attrition. Can you keep your best players on the field who are going to want to play 100% of snaps? And the fact that they know someone's right behind them now. How much more does that mean that they're going to over-try, and play? I think if you could pick the problems you have going into a season, I would pick our guys want to try too hard over several other problems.
The Cowboys defense has first world problems right now,
Yes.
if they have any.
They do. They do have first world problems.
Right, the problems are there's going to be, like you said, Patrick brought up regression. Maybe some guys underachieve, whatever it may be. But you got the depth to be able to solve those problems and to be able to, kind of absorb some of those issues. And I just love me some Dan Quinn. I've been such a big fan of Dan Quinn, and I might get into this in Rod's Round today, actually. I might try to change it up a little bit because, listen, they ran top 5 defense in back-to-back years. And this is my favorite stat about the Cowboys. They've led the NFL in takeaways in 2 straight years.
Yep.
And they are the first team to lead the NFL in takeaways in back-to-back seasons since the steel curtain of the Pittsburgh Steelers did it in 72, 73, and 74. Now, could they do it in 3 straight years like the steel curtain? If that's the case, then we got to give them a cool nickname or something for this defense. But what I love about it schematically is, like I said, I'll probably get into this a little bit in Rod's Round of the Day potentially, is the way it was built and constructed. Dan Quinn had a vision for the defense. He built it a certain way. He built it as a defense that had multiplicity, and he built it around positionless football, something he experimented with in Atlanta. And then the Micah Parsons, I think, acquisition while he was there really inspired him, and now he's taking it to a whole nother level. I'll give you a random stat about the safeties really quick because I know we want to move on and hear from Brandon Cooks too. The Cowboys safety trio played a combined 3,032 snaps. Just the trio, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, and Jayron Kearse, combined 3,032 snaps as a safety trio. And they each played over 900-plus snaps, so it wasn't just one guy.
Right.
Each played over 900-plus snaps, almost 1,000 snaps. No other team had a unit play over 700 snaps each. So
That's why people are looking at the Cowboys like this.
But
That's
the Cowboys
why
are
you can
playing
say
a ton. And to me, I think those 2 stats I gave you are linked. I think they play a lot of safety. They play more 3 safety combination than anybody else. Big nickel and big dime is what they call it. And they play more of that than anybody else. And with safeties, you can confuse and you can disguise pre-snap. The coverage is better than better with that position than any of the position on defense.
Right.
Because you can move those guys around. Corners, you can't move corners around that much. D linemen, you can only move them around so much. And by the way,
linebackers you can move around a little bit, but not too much.
And that's why he likes like Micah Parsons is a guy who can move around. They said Micah Parsons will be a pass rushing linebacker.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to confuse the opposing quarterback, and so that his pre-snap. Whatever his pre-snap analysis is and whatever he sees pre-snap, it doesn't match the post-snap diagnosis.
Correct.
It's always different. And also, Dan Quinn ran more stunts, games up front, twists between D linemen than any other team in the NFL or in terms of on pass plays. And that was basically the highest mark of any team in the NFL in 5 years.
Right.
So everything is designed to confuse the hell out of the opposing offense, right? Confuse blocking schemes with twists and stunts up front. Confuse the quarterback by moving your safeties around and keeping them on the field. Micah Parsons is a part of that. And that's how it's built. That's why they get a lot of interceptions.
Right.
They do, because quarterbacks are confused. Like, what the hell am I looking at?
That's what you're supposed to do.
I love the way his defense is constructed.
And it's funny, too, because you're talking about all the position players on the defensive side. You talked about the safeties. And if you look at it, because this is something, too, that I keep thinking about with the depth side. So DeMarcus Lawrence, Mozzie Smith, let's just say those are the 2 starters. What's his name? Osa
Odigizua.
Okay.
Odighi,
He's
I like
there,
him. Yeah.
and Micah Parsons on the front 4, right?
Yeah.
So then if you had to replace him, you got Sam Williams, who you took in the second round. You got Jonathan Hankins, who's a free agent. You ended up re-signing him. You got Neville Gallimore, who we're not even talking about either. Neville Gallimore is another guy that has come back. And you got Dorrance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Guys that have put up numbers for you. And that's just on the front 4. Those are backups to those starters that I mentioned in the very beginning. And then you look at the linebacker position, Jabril Cox. We all know he's got unbelievable upside. We got DeMarvion Overshown. We'll see how he adjusts to the NFL game, and he's fast enough to move around. And then in the secondary, you got Nashawn Wright, Jaron Kearse, Israel Mukuyamu, and Kelvin Joseph, who we're still trying to figure out if Boss Man Fax is there. But you also have Deron Bland.
Yeah, you do.
Who made a huge impact. And going back to the numbers we were talking about, maybe his check was bigger than his
pay.
Exactly.
He got it.
Yeah, he definitely might be getting that. And then we've already heard the great reports on Eric Scott Jr.
Yeah, people like him.
People really, really like him. Marquise Bell, guy that I've been high on that came in last year. You still got C.J. Goodwin. You still got Dante Fowler. You still got Chauncey Golston.
Jordan Lewis is still
and
there
you got Jordan
secondary.
Lewis in the secondary, but I got him listed as the starter. So you just got all of these guys. Depth that we were talking about. That is why I believe the Cowboys can be at that very high level because, yes, the one name that you really can't replace is Micah Parsons, but you can put somebody in there like a Dorrance Armstrong for a play or two who put up big numbers last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a fun year. And, yes, the texter asked me. He said, because of the fact that you believe since the Horns and the Cowboys are parallel, is it boom or bust? Yes, absolutely. It has been boom or bust for the Dallas Cowboys. It has definitely been that. With this situation, if they are not in the NFC Championship game, it is a failure of a season. I don't care. I don't care what the record is. They have enough talent to be there. On the offensive line, we got a dude that's got 100.
They've been knocking on the door for
a while,
couple of years.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's because most of that door is steel. You couldn't hear them knocking.
And
they didn't have the ring up there.
Considering the fact you're about to have to pay a lot of players, and so you're probably going to have to let a couple of these guys go. When you go into that mindset, then this really is a big season for the Cowboys. And the fact of, hey, man, Trayvon Diggs is coming up. Micah Parsons is coming up. Do we keep both of them? Or does Trayvon Diggs go away? Does CeeDee Lamb go away? We don't know what we're going to have at running back next year. Tony Pollard, we franchise tagged him this year. He may not come back. So there's a lot of pieces.
Deuce Vaughn, baby.
No, I get that, but
I'm just kidding.
But if that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of pieces that you're kind of right on that edge. You got a lot of guys on rental contracts on 1 or 2 year deals that this could fall apart in an offseason. And I don't think it'd be fall apart like you're done, but it falls apart of this could be the best defense in the league this year. All right, next year we had to spend more money on offense, so the defense takes a hit. Now you have a top 10 defense, and you have a top 10 offense, and that gets you to the playoffs.
Well, I think if you don't accomplish the goal, which is, I agree with you guys, NFC title or bust for the Cowboys, there will be a coaching change. It will likely be Dan Quinn.
Yep.
And that means they'll continue to be a defensive-oriented team and build this defense as a kind of cutting-edge, progressive defense built on positionless football. And the offense, I wonder, that's going to be the question.
Yeah.
Because then they'll be looking for a different offensive identity. Because if they don't have a bell car running back, it's only Pollard will be gone, and then it'll be Dak without Kellen Moore.
And we haven't signed that Dak extension yet, have there?
And then you got exactly.
So there's a Dak extension looming as well. Does that get signed, or does Dan Quinn take it over and say, screw everything, we're rebuilding this offense from the ground up, and I'm keeping my defense?
Like I said,
they're going to get Kellen Moore back.
No, but to Archie's point, though, like the Longhorns, a lot will be determined. There's
a lot.
This year will be either an indictment on Steve Sarkisian's legacy, or it'll be ultimately the exclamation mark on his legacy that, he is a damn good coach.
No doubt.
But Mike McCarthy, same thing. I do think Mike McCarthy, if he doesn't get past that divisional round, There could be some changes.
There could definitely be
Yeah,
some
a lot
changes.
of people high on Dan Quinn, and they're high because that defense might end up being the best in the league. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so we'll play that Brandon Cook sound a little bit later on in the show. We'll get to that in the 5 o'clock, and also those Madden ratings a little bit later on as well. All right, we come back. We'll talk some baseball. Astros and Rangers, big series coming up for the Rangers. We'll discuss that. Astros, where they went. And by the way, Astros need to sweep the A's.
Mm-hmm.
They desperately need to sweep the A's.
Yep.
The A's are terrible.
They are one
And
of,
they want to be bad. They want to be terrible.
Yeah, this is on purpose.
They're not trying to win. So if you lose,
They're bringing
help
up
them
prospects
lose.
right now.
you can't lose to a team that's not trying to win. So
That's the ones that are dangerous because they just out there playing free.
Yeah, they're balling,
They're
having
not
fun,
thinking
making
about
jokes
it.
about it. Like, oh man, you see, I just bet the air out in the field. Ain't no big deal.
Exactly.
No, I don't like it. All right,
I'm not on it either.
They need to break out the brooms versus the A's. We'll come back and talk some baseball right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when the Idealionaire Patrick Davis plays jams from very talented human beings, live bands, artists that you have a chance to see live here in the ATX, I should say. And right now, who we jamming, Patrick?
This is Darkbird, and they are playing Friday. That's tonight at 310.
Kind of like this. Not gonna lie.
They're playing. It's 310's a club right below ACL Live. I'm part of that, so it's a really good venue.
What's the name of this jam?
This jam is called Crimes. It's a new track from them. I believe they're doing a release. I don't know if it's an EP or a LP release that they're going to be doing out there.
I like the jam. It's not bad.
Does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of chill.
Exactly.
Seems like it should be playing in Breakfast Club movie or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
It does sound like a good soundtrack song.
It does.
It's a great soundtrack song.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. I don't know for what soundtrack, but a soundtrack will be lucky to have
That's
that
right.
on their damn soundtrack. It's pretty good. All right. Thanks for Patrick working hard for us on a 512 Friday. All of our musically themed days of the week. He's the Idealionaire coming up with him. 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge, any Twitterverse. Patrick Davis, it is Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, big series for the Rangers. I feel like we just said that.
We did.
Earlier
We did.
when they played the Rays.
Yep.
But man, like I said, the Rangers have this is one of the hottest starts they've had really as an organization post All-Star break. It's been really they've looked really good, and the Dodgers are leading their division, correct? If I'm not mistaken. So you got two division leaders facing off. Hard. I heard Craig Way talking about this. So Craig Way is a Dodgers fan.
Huge
so
Dodgers
Craig Way
fan.
was
I think he's on his way up there right now. I think he's
He
going
is,
to.
he?
Yeah, I think he's going to the game tonight.
I did not know. Oh
Yeah.
man, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's on his way now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Craig's big time Dodgers fan.
Big time Dodgers
So he
fan.
was excited. I know he's excited about the series. I heard him talking about it. He actually came in early with B&E to talk about the series and everything. So yeah, man, the Rangers. Listen, depending on if they can win this series. We've been saying it for a while. You definitely got to take the Rangers seriously. But if the Rangers win this series, does it change the way how aggressive the Rangers are going to be at this trade deadline?
No, I think they still are
Still gonna be
missing some pieces. I mean,
Right?
that they
But-
can
but I'm
possibly
saying if you
go out
win
there
it,
and
though,
get.
I think you should be more aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I'm
what
saying.
I meant
You
to
need
say.
to- yeah,
I
they need
meant
to
to
go
say if
get
you
it.
win it, like, hey guys, you know what I mean? You just beat the Rays. You just beat the Rangers. The Dodgers in that
Yeah.
series. You should be thinking about possible World Series run.
Agreed.
It's a possibility for you.
Agreed.
And don't forget who the next series is after the Dodgers.
It's the Astros.
The Astros. So it is your second place team in the
Yeah.
division as well. So it is. I think it would not surprise me if they're. I mean, we know they're having tons of conversations right now. But I think no matter what happens, you have to still think if you're the Rangers, like, man, we're right there.
You're right there, man.
We're right there. And in the American League right now, who's going to stop us? Because we feel we have more experience in some of our guys than maybe the Orioles do, who just got back into first place in that division. You know, if the Yankees aren't able to get a big name, then they're not playing as well. Like, who's really going to stop us in the American League? So, I mean, even if we make it to the World Series, then we just got to win 4 games.
Yeah.
So I get, that's a big if, but I think if you're there, you go, we know the Astros are not healthy right now. So that's going to be a battle once those guys get healthy, if they get healthy. And they're probably going to try and add something as well. So I think you have to be aggressive to know it's very important for our future to win the division this year, to solidify that this is not the Astros romping ground anymore, that this is Rangers time.
Times they are changing.
And then really it's not like this isn't an AL where you have the Yankees and the Red Sox and those guys really dominating the league.
Yankees are in last place.
They are, and I think they're 2 or 3 games out of the wild card, so they're not dead in the water by any means. That division's just playing really good baseball right now.
Shout out to the Baltimore Orioles. They're playing really good baseball. They're in first place.
The Rays are playing well, but the
Rays are bad right now.
They are, but why? Yeah, why are the Orioles in first place? Because the Rangers just beat up on the Rays.
Yeah. Well, not only that. Listen to this about the Tampa Bay Rays, and this is the part that is really ironic to me. I saw this stat earlier today. The funny part about it is they started the season. Remember, they were 13-0.
Yeah,
I remember
to
this.
start the season off.
Run differential was like historic.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was historic.
So by the end of April 29th game, they were 23-29. Baltimore was 18-9 at the time, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, look at what's happening! They're so close." Tampa has gone 37-35. Baltimore has gone 41-28. 8. This is the first time since May that they have not been in first place, the Rays.
Wow.
Baltimore is in first place now. So it's interesting.
I'm the captain now.
Right. I am your captain now. So the Orioles are playing really good baseball. Tampa's not, but the Texas Rangers this weekend, this will be a truer test to me. And don't forget this. Chris Young and Clayton Kershaw are really good friends. Chris Young is in the front office for the Texas Rangers. He's making a lot of deals. But the only problem is the Dodgers are in first place. So they're not going to – I don't think they're going to be sellers yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be real interesting to see what moves will be made by August the 1st. And because that's the trade deadline, which players are going to be available. This is going to be a big weekend.
When's the last time we had a trade deadline that's been this anticipated?
It's been a while. Because a lot of them are done. A lot of them are done in the dark. There are people that you're not even thinking about.
In addition to the Shohei thing, but we got other drama.
The Astros last one was the Verlander. Had to be.
Yep.
When it was apparently signed with minutes left in the trade deadline.
They had to call a timeout.
Yeah.
So they can get it in under the deadline.
Yeah, man, I can't think of one.
I haven't either.
That I'm talking about nationally. Everybody is not everybody, but at least
a lot of people are.
A lot of people into it. And well, if you're a baseball fan, even if your team's not in it, you want to know what's going to happen with Shohei.
But that's the thing
is probably the biggest story in sports right now.
I mean, if you're looking at it,
Lionel Messi. Sorry, I think he's debuting.
Yeah, tonight.
But if you say,
sorry, Messi,
the Yankees being out of it and what they might do to try and get somebody, that storyline. Do the Yankees basically blow up their entire farm system to try and go win some games because they just signed Aaron Judge and now they're last in the division?
The Angels hope so.
The Angels do. Does Shohei Ohtani get traded? And then you have the AL East is bombing it up. Does someone in the AL East go for something? Do the Reds, even though now that they've started to show up and start to have some good talent, did they make a trade and try and compete in that division and that conference where there's already Atlanta and Philadelphia, who was in the World Series last year? The Dodgers are killing it again. Mm-hmm. Do they make another move to try and bolster? They bring in Shohei Ohtani. And then in Texas, Rangers and Astros are in an arms race right now because the Astros are still 4 games out of first place, but that's without Yordan for the past month. Altuve's missed games. A ton of pitching has missed games. Do you make a big deal? And, I see certain media is predicting certain players on the Astros. I personally don't think Jeremy Pena is on the trade block, but his name has been mentioned in trades because certain like the White Sox are now.
White Sox are the ones that's what I was just about to say. They're going to be the biggest sellers during this time.
Okay.
They've got a couple All-Stars that a lot of people are looking at, but what can they get out of it? Because if they have Cease and the Rangers and Astros are blowing up the phone, and hey, man, we're going to trade him to your rival if you don't give us one more prospect. If you don't give us this prospect instead of that one. There's a lot that,
drama,
especially for fans of the Astros or Rangers, either one, this is the most fun it has been to have a rivalry going since the Astros have moved to AL because it is trade deadline time and both teams need help to get over that hump and be the front runner in the American League.
Yeah, it is. Because it's a lot of drama surrounding the trade deadline for Major League Baseball. I've been doing this for a long time. I can't remember this much drama surrounding sports. It's been drama before, but this is a ton.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And there's a lot of pieces and a lot of teams that think that they're close.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams that are.
You keep talking about the Braves all the time.
The Braves are
it's
right
your team
there,
you keep talking about that could make another move.
And they're 10 games up in their division. And so that's the other crazy part. To your point, we're good. We might need just one more piece. What are we willing to risk?
Yeah.
What are we willing to risk?
It's us and like 3 other teams right now.
And
at our level.
if we're in the National League and the Dodgers get Shohei,
yeah.
Well, what does that do for us? Because they're the second best team in the NL right now, and they just added the 2 best players in one guy.
But the one thing that I always worry about, again, this is the question. Do the Dodgers have enough prospects to where they feel like they can give enough for that? And that's every team.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your farm system is in a place to where if I get rid of this guy or this prospect, because if you go and look at the prospects in baseball, the Rangers have a lot that are in the top 100.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
the scary part.
And
Don't say
think
it. Don't say it.
the
Hurd.
the
Don't be
Dodgers
teasing them Rangers fans
The
like
Dodgers
that, man.
have 8 or 9 in the top 100 as well. They
Yeah.
have a lot. The bigger question for the Dodgers is, do you give up 6 prospects, 5-6 prospects for a guy that you could probably sign in the offseason?
Yeah.
You have a
That's the
better than
other part.
average
Yeah,
shot.
because the thought is that he wants to be on the West Coast, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
And Shohei
and
wants to be
they
a
don't
West
even have to
Coast
move
guy.
houses.
Yeah.
He don't have to move anything.
Yeah.
He's staying in L.A. He's just going to the other
Nothing changes,
team.
except
He's going to a
different
better
facility.
team.
Yeah.
And so that one, I think that's the biggest question for the Dodgers is, well, do we really give that up, or do we keep them all?
Right.
We have the second best team in the NL this season. We got a chance to win it all this
Wait
season.
one more year.
And then go sign him in the offseason and be even better.
Yep.
Especially if that is true, and there are a lot of reports that it is, that he wants to be on the West Coast.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if that's the case, then yeah, the Dodgers are definitely the team to be, a team to be with, I should say, if you are Shohei Ohtani in that situation. So we'll get into some more baseball, of course, but big series, huge series versus the Rangers, man. It could be a statement series for the Rangers to the rest of Major League Baseball that they are not only legit, but you may be talking about a true World Series contender now. Rangers fans happy to hear that. All right, we come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side, and then later on we'll get into some Texas football discussion, also Texas basketball discussion in the top of the 4 o'clock. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers here. Let's talk about our friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482, because Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. That's a really, really long time. You see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our good friends at Ironworkers Local 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a valued member of this prestigious organization, Ironworkers Local 482, and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when the Ideallionaire, Patrick Davis, he plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Flyjack, and they are playing tonight at the Continental Club.
Fly Jack.
Flyjack.
I would love to know the genesis, the origin of that name. Always intrigues me. All right, the flex is the focus of this segment. Go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. There are district previews, football previews up at FLXATX.com, 26-6A, 25-6A, 12-6A. You can go check those out. And yes, next week, keep an eye out because I believe they're going to have their Flex watch list coming out next week. Yeah, people still working hard for you, all right? Still working hard to try to bring you the best coverage of the high school football and high school sports, period, here in the Flex area. So go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms there, and go check it out for yourself.
Word.
All right. Actually, speaking of, there's some recruiting news for the Longhorns that we'll get to next segment too. They did get the commitment of a defensive lineman in Florida.
It's the one we was talking about, DeAndre.
DeAndre, they got him. Yeah, so right now that SEC footprint for Texas, they are taking full advantage of it. You can see them getting a lot of different guys now in those future recruiting classes from SEC country, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. So Sark doing everything he can to try to bring in the talent, not just from Texas, but also from all around the country. So we'll talk some Texas football. X-Men getting comparisons to Devontae Smith. Which is a good thing, but I got a take about that too. It is a good thing, but also you got to give props to Sark about the Devontae Smith comparison, of course, because Sark was the offensive coordinator when he won the Heisman. So we'll get to that, and maybe X-Man could be in that discussion. That would be awesome if he was. If a wide receiver's in the Heisman conversation, that means your team is really good.
I think we've talked about
the quarterback's
it. What did Josh
probably in it
Pate
too.
tell us?
Yeah. No,
Josh Pate was always on that too.
I don't know what the odds are.
Horse.
I don't know what the odds are now, but it was really good odds back then. I
By
don't
the
know
time
if it's
we
still
come
the
back,
same
I'll
thing.
let you know.
All right, Joe. Figure that out.
Yeah, I'll
All right,
figure it out
always.
for you.
He's got his hand is on the pulse.
That's right.
He's got his finger on the pulse, if you will, of the betting community. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into that. Also, there's some Chip Brown insider reports to get to. Texas basketball conference schedule updates. We'll get to that too coming up, and we go behind the burnt orange curtain right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
The weekend is upon you, and what better way to spend your weekend than going over to the Lee Kitchen and Tavern? Go to leekitchen.com to find out more details. That way you can see that you can enjoy the menu, check out monthly specials. They have 4 Austin area locations, Lakeway, Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, and Belterra. You can also get some food catered. Whether it's dine-in or pick-up, lunch or dinner, the League has something for you. This month, is the burger of the month is the pineapple teriyaki burger. That's right. You can already just feel that and make sure that you enjoy it. Teriyaki pork chop, is also something for you to do. You can get Kona fish tacos. There are so many things that you can enjoy over at the Lee Kitchen and Tavern. Make sure you go to Lee Kitchen and Tavern. You can have dine-in pickup, lunch, or dinner just around the corner for you. Go and visit the menu and monthly specials at leekitchen.com. That is leekitchen.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when Patrick the Idillionaire plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Paul Val, and he's playing Saturday night at the Continental Club.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You should know what that is. And you also...
Continental Club getting love today, huh?
They
Yeah.
booked some good bands this weekend.
That's true. There you go. Patrick always hooking you up. So even if you're not that cool, you can sound really cool in front of all your friends. Act like you know where all the best bands are playing in the ATX. Go to Twitter if you want to reach out to us. I'm at Hardball Hard. She said Hardball Hard in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis said it's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers. Specs text line also wide open 512-337-3776. Harge, what you got coming up for the people on Harge Knock Life?
I'm going to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and something that he needs to continue to look at to have success this season.
Okay.
And it ain't your wide receivers.
And it ain't your wide receivers. I like that. Okay, so we'll get into that coming up in Hard Knock Life, coming up next segment. I want to get into some Texas football discussion here. There are a couple of nuggets we had to get to. Texas basketball as well. There's a conference schedule update to get to for Texas. First, this is an X-Man comparison I thought was pretty interesting that you sent, Hard. So there are... basically, there are comparisons now being made in the scouting community, which makes sense. That Xavier Worthy reminds them of Devontae Smith, the NFL Rookie Watch. They put out there Xavier Worthy is reportedly thought to be comparable to Devontae Smith as a prospect, according to Rick Spielman, former NFL GM. Worthy is listed at 6'1", 172. Devontae Smith currently listed at 6'170". Many NFL scouts believe that they are comparable in their skill set. And, of course, we know the ultimate link is Steve Sarkisian. He likes skinny, fast wide receivers.
He does.
That's his type. If you go look at all of my ex-women that I've dated all throughout my life, you'd probably recognize a trend or a pattern, and then you'd be like, oh, Robbie's got a type. There's like 70% of these women, they got some similarities, some commonalities, big booty brunettes, whatever it may be. And same thing with Sark. You go look at his wide receivers, and I think you'd find they have some commonalities, and speed is one. And some of them on the slender side. He didn't mind a slender wide receiver. Yeah, some people listen. Tom Herman liked the big body wide receivers, right?
He
like
did.
Lil Jordan Humphrey, Colin Johnson, big body wide receivers. He recruited Troy O'Meary. He wanted guys who could go up and
Troy
go.
O'Meary just said, like, man, he let me down.
Exactly.
Man.
Everybody that big. Remember, people said that he was getting first team reps as a true freshman.
Yes.
And then he had the injury.
And he had the injury.
Another injury, and of course we know how that ends. So there you go. Looks like a lot of comparisons being made with Devontae Smith for my man Xavier Worthy. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
He won the Heisman Trophy, and Sark knows how to force feed the football to a wide receiver.
And that's why a lot of people are looking at it. And we got a chance to talk to X, and he said he feels good. Feels probably the best that he's been in a very long time.
He did.
So there's a lot to desire when you start thinking about his freshman year, going back to what we talked about yesterday about Caden Stearns, how he played his freshman year. X-Man, the only problem that X had last year, and his numbers probably would have been even better, was he had the drops. And we found out that he had a broken hand. But his numbers were right around the same. I'm looking for him, if he can stay healthy, especially with all the weapons that Texas has, where he can't be double-teamed because you're going to get yourself hurt elsewhere. I'm expecting him to have a huge year as well.
Yeah, no, and honestly, the skinny wide receiver, the type of wide receiver that Sark likes, these little skinny, fast guys. Because Jonte Cook, I haven't looked at it. Jonte Cook seems a little bit thicker.
Yeah, he is a little
but
bit
thicker. He's a still skinnier, faster guy.
He's a burner.
Slender, fast guy. We know that he loves speed demons. Sark has started a trend of making these smaller-ish or slender-ish, slight-ish receivers more and more popular, and you got to give him credit for that. I went and looked at it. If you just look at body mass index, BMI, as a way to categorize these wide receivers in terms of how slight they are, which is it's a metric about the height and the weight of a player, and that's why I'm using it. Trust me, and some people want to hit me up. Oh man, that's a sham algorithm or a sham computation. It's not about that. It's about trying to find a way to categorize wide receivers. If you look at BMI, body mass index for wide receivers, that was 25 or less. Body mass index 25 or less. Basically, since Devontae Smith was drafted, and Devontae Smith was, like I said, he was one of those guys. He was really, we hadn't seen a receiver that small-ish or slight-ish get drafted that high, but he was an outlier. He ended up winning the Heisman as a wide receiver. Shows you how great he was. His BMI was 23, 23.1, and he went 10th overall. And you go back and look at it. If you go look at it since 2000, there have been 24 wide receivers drafted with a 25 body mass index or less since 2000 in the first 2 rounds. So I'm looking at the first 2 rounds. I didn't go through the whole draft. First 2 rounds, 24 wide receivers drafted with 25 BMI or less since 2000. 11 of those have happened since Devontae Smith was drafted. Think about that.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
11 of those came since Devontae Smith was drafted.
And that was what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And so you're talking about basically 20 years where you had, 13 wide receivers drafted in the first 2 rounds with 25 BMI or less. And now, since Devontae Smith, they saw that and saw that he could be really capable of performing at a really high level, even being as slight as he was, and give Sark some credit for that too. You've seen a lot of other teams decide to look the other way on drafting a slight wide receiver that high. This year, it was Zay Flowers.
Yep.
First round. I mean, he was
the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep, 5'10", 182. So he was a slight-ish guy, but still not small. But you got Jordan Addison was really slight. He's 5'11", 173. So he was like 24.1. Marvin Mims was at 24.7. So those were the only 2 wide receivers drafted in the first 2 rounds that were below the 25 BMI.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it just shows
There's a lot.
there's more and more of those. Now, how productive they are, only 2, I think, have gotten multiple 1,000-yard seasons, but it just started really as a popular trend. So I think you'll see more of those guys have more productivity, too. Those smaller guys, small-ish guys.
Look, I know that we mess around and we talk a lot about these players and thinking about the possibility. There was a time I didn't think a wide receiver was going to win a Heisman Trophy or let alone be invited to the spot. I think the last one that I truly remember being invited to the spot was Randy Moss? Randy Moss put up some big numbers with his opportunity. So for Devontae Smith to not only get there but win it, that's kind of the same situation where I was looking at when we were first talking about X-Man. When that story first came out where he was like, he may be the dark horse for it, I was like, man, that may not work. But going back to your point about how Sark can feature those guys and the fact that he probably will not be double-teamed a lot because you're creating mismatches all over the field, and that's why Sark is so giddy about this team, because if your quarterback has a good year, doesn't have to be great, have a good year with all the weapons that you have an opportunity to put up some really big numbers. So I'm excited to see it. I really hope that comparison kind of lives up to it, because don't forget, and he also returns punts like Devontae Smith.
And Sark likes him back there, too.
Yes, he does.
They took
Because
Deshaun
he scares
James.
me at first. I'm like, man, get him off of there, because he does not believe in a fair catch.
No. He believes he says he's the fastest guy on the team.
If I get outside, I'm gone.
And he believes it.
Yeah.
And, he believes his speed ultimately can win, because, he always tries to get to the outside, too. He's not one of the returners that is trying to kind of split the coverage.
Right.
He wants to beat him to the edge.
No doubt.
And he does.
Yeah,
sometimes
finds
he
a way,
does.
man. I'm like, golly, how'd he get there?
He said he's
and
a
I
fast.
love punt return.
Yeah.
Love it.
What I love about X-Man is he is a speed demon.
Yes, he is.
But a lot of receivers, when they are speed demons, they are not necessarily the most dedicated route runners, like paying attention to the actual details of route running, because they know, hey man, I just get on my horse. That guy, I can get his hips turned, and then I can run whatever route I want to. And they're right about that, but Father Time comes for us all, and eventually your speed will fade. But he actually is a really good route runner.
He takes pride in it.
He does. He's a damn good route runner.
it.
He's got the speed too, but he actually is a really good route runner. And I would say the art of route running is creating separation, and he's really good at being able to create that separation, through the subtle nuances of his body language and the way that he sets up the DBs. It really is. It's masterful. So
I remember when Brennan Marion was talking about him, and he was like, this dude works. Like, he is a guy. He's precise with his routes. And now you bring in Chris Jackson, somebody who's been in the league, that's over there teaching them now. That is going to make X-Man a very, very dangerous target for any team that is trying to figure out how to stop him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, he's not just speed.
Exactly.
He's a featured wide receiver, but he does have the ability to burn. I think last year he was typecast as the speed deep threat when that's not really what he needs to be. He can do that, but he needs to be a guy that's featured in a lot of different ways. Okay.
Quick Heisman notes.
Jump
the last Heisman wide receiver before Devontae Smith.
Desmond?
Would have been three. No, the finalist. He was third. Was Amari Cooper in 2014. Came in third place. Randy Moss was fourth in 1997, and then if you go back to 1991, Desmond Howard won it.
Yeah,
at wide receiver.
Amari Cooper.
I didn't realize he was a finalist.
I believe Blake Sims was the quarterback for Alabama, and they were 12-2. So they were like, "Well, we're not going to give it to Blake Sims. Come on down to Amari Cooper."
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Damn, Alabama wide receivers. So that's right now I think it's a good thing that X-Man's getting those kind of comparisons to Devontae Smith. Okay, let's get to a couple of stories here. Actually, we can get to the Chip Brown Insider Reports and still get some Texas basketball in. So just real quick, shout out to my man Chip Brown. He does have his Insider Report over there at Horns 24/7.
See, breezy.
Yeah, man. Harge worked with Chip Brown for many years. But I'll just read a couple of the nuggets. You can go check it out for yourself. I don't want to give away the whole thing. Chip Brown works hard on that. He did mention in his Insider piece that David Benda is a player who could surprise in 2023. He said he asked a few team sources for some intel on a fifth-year senior. One source said Benda saw how middle linebacker Jalen Ford finally emerged as a breakout player in his third season as a Longhorn and was inspired to try to make the same kind of leap. Says David saw the light go on for Jalen, and he's doing everything everything that he can make happen for that, make that happen for himself this year. He's worked his butt off and been a leader and has shown the coaches how versatile he can be.
Well, that's the funny part about it is because he's bounced around on both sides of the ball since he's been at the University of Texas because he was that good of an athlete. Remember, they moved him to running back when he was supposed to be a linebacker, and then they moved him back to linebacker, and then they moved him outside, and then he was supposed to play inside. I mean, this guy's gone through a lot since he's been at the 40 acres. So I'm not surprised because you know as well as I do, once you put him in a place where he can succeed and he knows that's where I'm going to be, he can dive all into it and really focus on getting better at that position.
Yeah, they say he played will linebacker, Sam linebacker. He can play middle linebacker. He can play any role on the basically in the linebacker position on defense. And as you brought up, as a football player, the guy even played on offense too. They've been trying to find a role for him. They like him.
They like him, obviously.
Every regime likes him because they want to find a place for him.
Yep.
And he's been, loyal in the transfer portal era and stayed here at Texas to try to get his shot. And we don't know who the linebacker is going to be opposite of Jalen Ford. We know Jalen Ford is going to be starting guy. Right now, Anthony Hill, there's a lot of talk about him because he's a natural pass rusher, and they may want him in that DeMarvion Overshown role coming off the edge, where he proved to be one of the better pass rushers at linebacker in the Big 12, maybe in the country, actually, coming off the edge. DeMarvion Overshown was really good in that role. And also in this piece, it brings up Mo Blackwell. It said one team source said Mo Blackwell continued to earn trust with the coaches as more than just a big hitter. He's showing more and more that he'll be where he's supposed to be and mind his gap and be a good teammate. Being as fast as Mo is only helps if you're reading your keys correctly and moving in the right direction. Otherwise, you're just getting out of position faster. Mo is making huge strides there, reading his keys correctly and using that speed to his advantage. I know my man Jeff Howe is a big Mo Blackwell guy too.
I've been too.
And he's got a hybrid skill set, right? They moved into safety before, moved them back to linebacker. So those are two guys, along with Anthony Hill. All right, if the young Anthony Hill, the prodigy, if his development can somehow be expedited, hastened to a certain extent, then maybe he'll become that guy. But at least you got options to figure out who's going to fill the I don't know if it's a void, but there's definitely uncertainty, question marks about who's going to be the off-ball linebacker opposite Jalen Ford.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, you sit there and you look at what Jalen Ford was able to do with the breakout performance from last year. You talked about Mo Blackwell, who's somebody that is super athletic. He's a guy that can move, and he has that fluidity in which he moves. But you sit there and you think about Anthony Hill, and you got the Hawaiian linebacker that has done a great job too.
Oh, yeah, Louis Fatau?
Yeah.
I forgot I'll get it right.
Yeah.
I'll probably screw it up, but I'll get it right.
But he's another name that a lot of people aren't really mentioning because Anthony Hill. But this is a young man that every person that you've talked to about him, they say that he may surprise some people as well. So he could get a lot of playing time. I talked to somebody today, and they asked me, they were like, what do you truly believe? I said, I believe this is going to be one of those teams that just because we're so close to it, it makes it hard because we've seen it go the opposite direction. But if this many people from afar are looking at this Texas football team with all the talent that it has, and they're believing it, there's something to be said about that. Because you talked about the big humans, but most importantly, these guys, they look different. They have a different mindset. They're talking totally different. And most importantly, there's a lot of experience on this team.
It is.
That you can help those young players get there faster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I that's why I'm looking at it from, where are the weaknesses.
Right.
Yeah, we can talk about the strengths, but I think that's why everybody's really high on Texas. Defensively, I try to look at where would an offensive coordinator attack Texas, where they're going to try to exploit Texas. You're not going to throw at Jalen Ford. You're not picking on guys like Jahdae Barron who've proven themselves. You're going to pick on the unproven commodities, and the unproven commodities are off-ball linebacker, opposite Jalen Ford, field corner, all right, opposite Ryan Watts, whoever that's going to be.
Out there.
I think it's going to be Terrence Brooks, but whoever that's going to be, still got to prove themselves.
Forget about Gavin Holmes.
Could be Gavin Holmes too as well. Yep, those are the spots. And then the defensive end spot opposite Barron Sorrell. Those are your three problem areas for the Texas defense.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're all going to be problems, but if I'm an offensive coordinator and you ask me to build a game plan going up against Texas, it's easy where I start.
Yep.
I'm attacking defensive end, opposite Barron Sorrell.
Right.
I'm attacking the linebacker spot, opposite Jalen Ford, and I'm attacking the field corner. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's where your really smart coordinators are going to start early on this season picking on Texas. Are there going to be weaknesses? I'm not saying they are going to be. I love Terrence Brooks. Think he's going to be great. I love Anthony Hill. Hopefully David Benda does have a breakout campaign. That would be great. And whoever ends up taking the defensive end spot, whether it's Finkley or all the different options they can throw out there, hopefully they can moneyball that position. But if you want to know who's going to get picked on, I'm telling you right now, that's easy.
Yeah, that is an easy look for sure. Because you do not know who that other player is going to be. But as you look at this team as a whole, this is going to be one of the most important seasons or one of the most excitable seasons from the very beginning on the paper. On the paper.
On paper it is.
But like Ryan Clark said, they got to go out there and play.
They don't play it on paper.
They don't play it on paper.
They don't play it on paper.
If they would, we would have had a lot more national championships or at least been playing for Big 12 championships.
Oh, man. It'd be awesome. It's like a
Right.
fantasy football team. It don't work that way.
It does not work that way.
Not that
Sorry
easy.
to hear that.
So yeah, go check out that insider piece. There's some other nuggets up there. We'll get into some more of that coming up later on in the show. But shout out to my man Chip Brown doing a really good job at Horns 24/7. Okay, Texas basketball also. Ended up with some news. The Big 12 announced Thursday who each team will face as part of conference play this year to make the 18-game slate. The conference put 5 home-and-home opponents, 4 home-only opponents, and 4 away-only opponents on each team's schedule. Texas will have home and away games with Baylor, Houston, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, West Virginia.
Yep.
The Longhorns will only host UCF, Iowa State, K-State, and Oklahoma State. And Rodney, also, they're set to face BYU, Cincinnati, Kansas, and TCU on the road.
The only problem that a lot of people have is that Kansas game, they don't get to come here.
You don't get a
them
home and
home
home.
with Kansas.
No, you don't.
That's the one that you really, really wanted, was the home and away against them. But other than that, I don't have a problem with this schedule. I know I heard my man Craig Way talking about, I got to go to BYU. He has to make that trip to BYU.
He doesn't want to go to Provo?
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to go to Provo anymore.
Really? I've been to Provo.
Yeah. I think you were on the
It was
sideline
not a
during
good
that
experience. It was not a good experience at all.
That's when you saw Taysom Hill fresh off a bike.
The white VY out there, man, with the knee brace on.
Wasn't that the rain delay too? Was that the weather delay one?
I believe you're correct.
Where you
about
had to
that
be there
one.
all night
Yeah.
because of that?
That was a long
That was
game
Manny Diaz
for
game,
like,
right?
It was the Manny Diaz game.
Yeah.
That was
That's when you was there then, bro.
That was a horrible, that was a horrible game. It really was. That was a terrible experience overall.
Hated it.
Yeah, yeah. So did Manny Diaz. He
Yeah.
hated it too. Texas basketball. Patrick, you see obviously a lot of Texas basketball. Get a chance to see them up close and personal. At least you did last season. What are your thoughts about the schedule? Or at least some of the unveiling of it. Some of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's Big 12 basketball, so it isn't, every game is going to be tough. So I don't think it's something where you can sit and go, we had the worst draw of games. You definitely got a little treatment of, hey, if we're going to do one of Kansas, let's make it at Kansas and
Yeah.
stuff like that, where you see a little bit of that. You put home and away with West Virginia, which is not going to be a great team this year with Bob Huggins being gone and a lot of a change over there. However, it is a long flight. It is not a place anybody really wants to travel to, so it wasn't necessarily Baylor, hard game, close. I get why you make it home and away. Houston, hard game, but it's close. I get why you make it home and away. OU, you have to have. In Texas Tech, the rivalry's there. Can anybody name Texas Tech head coach right now?
Yeah. McGaslin.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it, Mike. I
Good
like
job,
it.
Harge.
You
Well
know
done.
who he used to be?
I had no
He
shot.
used to be an assistant coach at Baylor. Then he went to North Texas. Now
Yes.
he's there.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Good
So
job,
Texas
His
Tech,
wife played
Texas Tech has
soccer
gone
with my
through a
wife.
ton
Well
of
done.
change
Yep.
in the last few years. So the fan base will be up for it because it is Texas, but I don't know if it's the same fan base that was there 5 or 6 years ago when you stole our coach. We hate you to Chris Beard's not part of the equation in any form anymore.
Yep.
So there's still a lot of vitriol. Texas Tech doesn't like Texas. I don't know if that rivalry is going to be as crazy, but it'll still be crazy.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good point. It lost some of its luster now that Chris Beard has moved on from Texas too.
And K-State's one of those teams. We know Tang is a really good coach. I just don't know what they're going to put out there with Keontae Ingram and Vaughn. Is it Vaughn? The little guy?
Deuce Vaughn.
Not Deuce
No,
Vaughn.
not Deuce Vaughn.
I'm like, Deuce
It's
Vaughn.
not. I
They
can't remember
love
his name.
little guys.
Noel. Mark Steve Noel.
Yeah.
Sorry, his
Yeah.
name. I'm getting all the young.
I'm like the Vaughns.
I'm getting all the small Kansas State players confused.
Kansas State loves a small,
Yeah.
small player. Yeah.
So they definitely have to go through some. We'll see what they end up with, but Tang's a really good coach, so
He's a
they may
really
be able to
good
play
coach.
again this year.
Big fan of him.
And then it's OU. Look, they haven't been good for a few years, so I mean, it's not any huge favors. You'd love to have Kansas at home instead of away, but other than that, I don't think there's. Baylor and Houston makes sense because they're just closer games.
It does, yeah. No, and both of those programs have been really good lately too. So those are sexy matchups, home and away for Texas. Yeah, the Kansas thing, I can see why Longhorn fans may be a little bit, upset by that. The fact you don't get the home and home with them, but I'm with Patrick. It's like going to the SEC for Texas. I said that about football and probably baseball too. Now, you get a favor. You may get a a favorable schedule, but there's no easy schedule.
Yeah, there's never going to be
There's
an
no
easy
easy
one.
schedule for Big 12 basketball.
Right. Oh,
There's no
man,
easy
it don't matter
schedules.
where you're playing.
Don't
It's
matter.
it's the Big 12.
It's the Big
They
12.
get after it, man.
All right, what you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
I'm going to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and what makes him tick that I think they got away from, but I think this is the year that they go back to it.
All right, I like that. We'll talk some Dallas Cowboys on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers here. Let's talk about our friends over at Apple Leasing because if anybody's doing it the right way, it is our friends at Apple Leasing. You need friends like our friends at Apple Leasing because if you want to find the perfect price, the perfect payment plan, the perfect lease situation, and the perfect car for you and your family, you need to reach out to Apple Leasing. Now, everybody loves that new car smell and everybody loves getting the brand new car. What you don't love are the headaches associated with the very stressful situation you put yourself in trying to go to different dealerships and go to different lots, trying to compare all the prices and do the price shopping, trying to figure out what price and payment plan work best for you and your budget. These can be really stressful situations. They can be really time consuming. Who's got that kind of time? Let our friends at Apple Leasing handle that for you. That's what they do really well. That's why they're doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years. Reach out to them, 512-346-9977. It sounds really easy because it is really easy. 512-346-9977 and let them handle the rest. Somebody who knows that all too well is my man Mike Harge.
That's right. I know it all too well. And even if it matters what type of car you're looking for, if you go on their website right now at appleleasing.com, you'll see a picture of a 2023 Silverado. You'll see a 2023 Nissan Rogue. You'll also see a Toyota Camry. Or if you want to get one of those high-end luxury vehicles, they have that for you. I was fortunate enough to go over there and look at a couple vehicles not too long ago, and I was like, woo, woo, it might be time for an upgrade. No matter what car you have, if you want something else, go over there and talk to my friends over at Apple Leasing. They set it up for you. A lot of times you can get in there. If you're already on a lease, they will make it work for you. They'll make the adjustment. There is never any penalty if you want to switch out your car for a different car. That's the beautiful thing about it. They want you to continue to keep coming back. That's what I've done. I've done it 3 times, and I'm going to continue to work with them. They make everything so easy. There was a time that I was really busy, and they were like, Mike, we need you to sign these papers. I was like, I can't get over there in time. They was like, don't worry about it. They emailed it to me. I docu-signed it. Everything was great. They actually delivered the car to my home because I was tied up somewhere else. That is what they do for you. That was what they did for me, and now it's your turn. Go to appleleasing.com or give them a call, 512-346-9977, and get the lease of your dreams. He always talks about leasing cars and making friends. As I've told you before, I've leased my car, and I'm definitely a friend. appleleasing.com. Welcome back to a 512 edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man that's in charge of all of our themes throughout the week at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're on the Specs text line, and we've been getting all of those. And thank you for all of the kind words. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And as most of you know, and if you don't know, you must have been under a rock, I am a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. And I am a huge Dak Prescott fan. And I know there's a lot of Dak haters out there and still believe that he is the reason why the Cowboys can't get over the hump. There's more reasons than that. But I get where you're coming from, and it's been a very unfortunate situation in Dallas over the last couple years. But most importantly, last year when they're playoffs, that's when everybody really started losing it on Dak. But other than that, he's been putting up great numbers. He was Rookie of the Year. He's done different things during his time as the Dallas Cowboy quarterback. But during that time, one of the biggest things that he's had success with has always been play action. And I have been saying it throughout the entire time. Whenever you have him just dropping back and you have wide receivers that a lot of people still don't want to make understand, they had problems separating. And I don't care who you are as a quarterback, if your wide receivers don't get any separation, it's going to be difficult for you to get the ball in there. Now, there were some tips interceptions. We've gone through that. There were some bad throws. We've seen that. But if your guys aren't getting separation, a lot of times you do seem like you're forcing the ball in there. And that's what it looks like to a lot of people. Now, you can say, well, he's always done that, and he's always had great years. He's had Kellen Moore. They put up great numbers as quarterback in offensive coordinator. And Rod gives me crap all the time about the fact that I don't give love to my man Kellen Moore because they got a great relationship.
You don't.
But he gone now. He gone. So now it's going right back to where it all starts. And it starts with the quarterback, and it starts with his head coach. During this offseason, after the transition was made, they all came to the table, and they were calling. Mike McCarthy said, we're going to run the ball a little bit more. We're going to do a little bit more. And I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. I think what you're going to end up doing is getting the ball in and out of Dak's hand in a quicker manner. And how do you do that? Where's the most fun for Dak as a quarterback? It's the play action pass. And this is something that I don't get too deep into these numbers like my man Rob B, but I do look at them. And I always try to figure out, okay, what exactly is it that needs to be done? Well, during play action, we all know, even if we don't have a true running presence, you still have to make it look like you're going to run the ball. And if you do that, what ends up happening is the linebackers have to take a step up. The defensive ends are crashing down a little bit different. And a lot of defensive backs, they peep into the backfield a lot of times. Yeah, we've seen it a lot.
Trayvon Diggs
is always peeking in the backfield. And Dak Prescott, when he does that, his numbers are so much better. Dak Prescott's play action rate in 2022 was second highest of his career at 27.2 per Pro Football Focus.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's where I get a little nervous. I don't, but I knew that this number was going to be accurate. And when he's using it, it helped improve his quarterback rating, his passer rating, his big throw percentages, and it reduced his turnover rate. Because why? They created separation, and he can get the ball in there. I don't even care if it's Patrick Mahomes trying to get the ball in there. If your guys don't have separation, it's going to be tough for your quarterback to be able to get the ball there. Even if it helps them for a half a second, a millisecond, it changes the way it goes. And the beautiful thing about it, even if they're faking it, that is going to be a major part. Football Outsiders looked at play action success and found this. It said oftentimes it's the work best at the very beginning of the game because no run is being established there. So everybody's going to try to, they're going to run the ball early. You're not just automatically coming out and running the play action right away. And they also found in early down play action, first and second down, you produce 1.2 yards more per play than the standard dropbacks. That is what has been bothering me the entire time when you just automatically put Dak in that situation where we all know you got nobody in the backfield. So there's no opportunity for a play action. Mm-hmm. There's no opportunity to fake it. And again, if you don't have guys that can separate, it makes it very difficult for them. I believe you gave the numbers the other day or last week where you were talking about he had his biggest problems when it was 3rd and long.
Yes, he does.
He always has those interceptions on the 3rd and long. You know why? Because nobody believes he's going to run the ball. So it makes it easier for them. And again, you're going to get used to this, and you're going to hear it later throughout the season. You're going to hear people say his guys are not getting separation, or last year they didn't get a lot of separation. Well, what did they do? They went out and got Brandon Cooks, 1,000-yard receiver. You got CeeDee Lamb, who now won't be double-teamed near as much. You're hoping that Jalen Tolbert will be able to play at a higher level. You're looking at Michael Gallup, who has come back to the second season after his injury. That is going to make him feel a lot healthier. He's going to probably try to go back to being that Michael Gallup where everybody was excited for him before he got hurt. So this year, with the Mike McCarthy being more hands-on, the Mike McCarthy talking about we're going to establish the run this year, even though we don't even know if our running back's going to be there. But they're saying that this is going to create more opportunities for Dak Prescott, dare I say, to be in the conversation in which he was before he got hurt, that people were looking at him as a possible MVP candidate. There's a lot of opportunity. What did you go through yesterday? We talked about it. He was in the top 10 of opportunities to be an MVP. Now, we know I'm not coming on this airways and telling you Dak is going to be an MVP candidate. I'm not saying he can't, because he's been there before. There's been conversations about him before he got hurt. He was in that conversation. Now there's being adjustments to it. And if they can figure out the separation and the tight end for position, I told you, I'm a big fan of Jake Ferguson. Big fan. And a lot of people weren't big fans of Dalton Schultz until when? Till Dalton Schultz started making plays. Let Jake Ferguson develop and the relationship blossom. Dak took everybody to Atlanta with him. A couple weeks ago, they spent a week in Atlanta working out and having practices and getting a bond, and he brought the whole crew there. They're getting ready to start the camp. I believe that this is going to be a make-or-break year, just like I said with Texas, for Mike McCarthy and, most importantly, for Dak Prescott.
No, I agree with you. I mean, you've been yelling it for a while. I don't know why. I mean, by the way, they did use a lot of play action for Dak.
Yes.
I mean, you said second most of his career in terms of play action pass rate. But I still think it was like, what was it, 9th or most in the NFL or something like that? I don't know exactly what the number is. They should be more extreme with it. They should use, I know they use it a lot, but they should use it even more. If they're at 20, right under 30%.
Yeah, 27.2.
They should be at 33%.
They were 27.3 or 27.3 with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
So they're consistent with it. That was the number. They can get closer to 30.
They need to be above. They need to be above 30.
Right.
They need to be closer to. I know it
35.
sounds crazy. Yeah, they need to be above a third of his pass attempts should be play action passes.
Agreed.
Because he had 17 interceptions last season total with the playoffs in the regular season, and if I'm not mistaken, 16 of those came on straight dropbacks.
Yeah.
He only threw one interception when he was utilizing play action pass.
Yeah,
so to your point.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy is a huge play action guy, too, because most of his numbers that he achieved where he called all those plays, he used it with Aaron Rodgers, too. Aaron Rodgers was a big play action guy, but he had guys that were separating, whether it was from the play action or guys just knowing how to run routes properly. I think that's going to be a big move for the Dallas Cowboys this year. Make sure you pay attention to the play action percentages this year for Dak Prescott, and that will tell you a lot about where the Cowboys are headed.
Yeah, I mean
regardless of that defense.
No, I mean, the truth is every quarterback is better with play action than without it. It's just a cheat code that works better for every quarterback. I don't know why the NFL doesn't use it a lot more, period. Because it also works. The stats have proven it works regardless of whether your running game is working or not.
Right.
It still works. Defenders, I'm a defender, so I can say this. Defenders are relatively low IQ football players a lot of the time, and they just fall for that run fake over and over again because it's been drilled into their subconscious over and over again. Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. You can flip the dynamic by coming out throwing, but still giving them the bait, which is the play action pass.
Yeah, the one thing you have to worry about is if your running backs have troubles with pass protection on a play action. A lot of times you like to run out, and then the guy basically has to become the blocker for whoever was coming through to get him. They have to then stop them instead of running out on a route. So you just have to make sure you have all that covered because we know that basically Tony Pollard, Ronald Jones, Deuce Vaughn, none are known for their pass protection.
Well, the one
so they can do it somewhat, do a chop block or something like that, but they can't really block.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit there and stop them for a minute while you wait for someone to get downfield.
Here's the other thing that I want to see from the Cowboys, and the same thing I said about Texas. Put in a screen game. That will calm a lot of people down, too, from getting to your quarterback. To put pin in their ears back, to put pressure on you. Run more screen plays. That will help.
I agree with you. But, yeah, it's just crazy the difference between Dak with play action pass than without play action pass.
Yeah.
His, in 2022, 87 passer rating without play action pass.
Yeah.
And a 102 passer rating with it.
It's like how do you not know that?
It's
Right.
It's like, hey, guys, he's very, very different as a play action pass quarterback. But I will say they also brought in 3 data scientists as a part of their analytics department. The Cowboys, they're kind of revamping, overhauling their analytics department. Hopefully the analytics department is bringing up things that Howard just talking about right now. They have numbers that are obviously way more in depth than that show you that Dak is he is night and day difference and better with play action pass than without it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
way better.
And you've been preaching this and yelling at this for as long as I've been with you on this show.
Right.
So that's a long time, which means at this point it should be pretty damn obvious. And we'll see. Maybe that's what Mike McCarthy wants. Maybe he wants more play action.
Maybe that's what he was missing.
Texas Coast offense. Maybe that's a big part of it. Maybe, like you said, the running game, all the talk about the running game is the okie doke.
Maybe.
This is the long play action.
Exactly.
All right. This is the long play action. He's like, oh no, we're gonna be running the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna run it a ton. It's like, you don't even have a running back. What the hell are you talking about? Your lead running back is still hurt.
Yeah.
Or we going to run it a lot. It's like, no, we're going to act like we're going to run it a lot. Lots of play action.
Yeah.
All right, we come back. We'll get into Off the Record on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Hart here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at Quick Roofing. I know we haven't had a lot of rain or hail in this area, so now's the perfect time for you to call my friends over at Quick Roofing. QuickRoofing.com is where you need to go, and here's some of the reasons why I think you should do it. You get a free no-obligation inspection. Quick Roofing requires a project manager on every job site, ensuring that you, the customer, are given everything that you were promised. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. And with all that, you get a 7-year workmanship warranty. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for a little off the record. And, man, Jordan Addison, he was off the record, but also with a lot of control. He was cited for speeding and reckless driving. Did you guys hear about how fast Jordan Addison was going?
Yeah.
Crazy. He was going 140 miles per hour in a 55.
Yeah.
55, according to Minnesota State Patrol.
Did you see the
This is 3 in the
video?
morning, by the way, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
in
did you
his
see-
Lamborghini, he got a Lambo, shout
Yeah.
out. So the man got a good taste. But he's wilding.
Yeah, I saw the video, and the cops were following him for a while. Like, just
I did not
running.
watch the video.
I did, and he was cooking. He was cooking, and it was on one of those little highways that you're entering on, and then all of a sudden, pew, he's just taking off, and he didn't see the trooper behind him. But still,
Dude.
I mean, in a 50.
Wow.
Yeah, turning it up.
I
That's
guess he-
dangerous.
Well, I guess- yeah, to go that fast.
That's dangerous.
You could easily
Yeah.
just lose control of things.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hit anything.
Henry Ruggs.
Pothole.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
We saw that with Georgia
Yep.
and everything that happened there. Like, there's
Great
too many
point.
examples of people's careers being
Yeah.
over, people's lives being over because of, like, I get it, go out fun, but you have the money. You can go on a racetrack. You can go to it's off season. Go to the Autobahn. Have fun.
I think Michael Griffin does that.
Like,
Michael
there's-
Griffin
he
takes
does.
his
He
motorcycle out to Coda or
He
something
does.
like that.
Yeah.
I forgot. And
Yep.
he
And you
races.
can do it where it's
Yeah.
supervised and it is. And I know it's more fun to do it not supervised, especially when you're in your early 20s and it's fun. I get it, but when you're supposed to be providing for your whole family,
Yeah, dude.
do you at a certain point you have to realize like, oh man, I have a gift that I am able to provide my entire family
Generational wealth.
with my talent and my ability, my work
Ding,
ethic,
ding.
and I probably shouldn't throw that away because it's 3 a.m. and it'd be really fun right now.
Exactly. Yeah, I get the need for speed. Some people got adrenaline junkies. I
Yeah.
get it. We talk about adrenaline junkies
Mm-hmm.
all the time, and there's a constructive way to get it out of your system. That is not it. Especially, you just talked about the Henry Ruggs situation. He was going 156, I believe, in a 45.
Yeah.
And then ended up killing a woman and her dog and injured himself. And, of course, his life is forever changed and not in a good way. And his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
His girlfriend
Oh,
was
yeah.
in the car
She was
with
in
him.
the car, too.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if that was the girlfriend, but yeah, he
Okay,
had a female in there.
yes, a lady.
Yeah.
Yes, a good point. Lady with him. I mean, now he's facing. Do we have the final sale? Is it 3 to 10 years for Henry Ruggs?
I'm not sure, but I
Do
think
we
you're
know?
around that number.
He's facing around that whatever that
I
number
think
is.
he's in there already.
In there already.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying I don't know the exact sentence, but my
Yeah.
point. But the point is, it's not worth it. We've seen these
At all.
tragedies. Patrick brought up the Georgia thing. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was racing too.
Yes, it was.
Racing and street racing. That's crazy. Anytime you're doing fast speeds, man. I even hate to bring up the Sid Benson thing, but I think it was like a speed. He was speeding on a motorcycle, so it ain't worth it. I tell people all the time, it ain't worth it.
It's really not.
You're gonna be now. He's not about being late. He wasn't rushing anything. He's just trying to get a rush,
Yeah.
adrenaline rush. Also, not worth it. Yeah, as Patrick mentioned, you can go sign some endorsement deal with some company that will pay you to go do this on a track.
Yes.
Supervised with a lot more safety precautions around you. Why? I guess that's part of the thrill, though. It's like, well, that's
No,
part of the
that's-
thrill. Part of the thrill is I want to do it on the street.
No, I know.
It's
It's that-
illegal. You know what I
It's
mean?
that part of you just need to have, man, you just need to find. This is an early indication that you need to be surrounded by better people.
Mm-hmm.
Not people that are like, it's 3 a.m. Yeah, you should go ride in a car. But like, dude, like train camp's coming up, man. I'm just saying, like, your foot slips and you no longer, and
yep.
you're
Anything.
lucky if you're in a hospital for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that could have went all types of wrong.
Like that's what I'm just like, I get it, but
Yeah.
man, come on.
This ain't Fast and the Furious, dog.
No.
What
No,
you
but
doing?
it's not. And it's not like
Facts.
you don't. It's not like, hey man, you got nothing. You know, you maybe you can go do this, and what are you going to lose? Like you're going to lose lots.
a lot.
You have a lot on the line.
And somebody else may lose.
No,
You
I
know what I'm
agree. Like,
saying? Yeah.
but I get that is a hard sell to young people. Is
I agree. We sound like old man radio, but you're right. Yeah,
like
it-
it's a
it
hard
ain't
sell
worth
to
it.
young people of, oh, you could. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
It ain't.
And you're
worth
like, I know, but you could, like, something really small could really, and hey man, you could get arrested and go to jail and the Vikings could cut you and the rest of the NFL could be like, all right, year of suspension for this. That's a possibility. And do you really want to start your career with that?
Yeah.
Just you did nothing you broke the law, and everybody said, you know what, we don't need lawbreakers around us.
Yep.
Like that, just that. You're pushing.
No, I'm with you. That seems like a lesson, especially after the Ruggs thing, after the Georgia thing. Those were big national stories in sports that you would have to, criticize Jordan Addison for making that type of poor decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a poor decision, man. That was terrible. That could have, like I said, this is the best case scenario for it.
Right.
The way it ended. This is actually the best case scenario is that nobody was hurt and he just ended up getting cited for it. Like I said, that could have went all types of wrong. All right, we come back. We'll get into some Cowboys discussion. Cowboys could have the best defense in the NFL. This NFL analyst certainly thinks so. Also, we'll hear from Brandon Cooks, who's really excited about his time with the Cowboys, and he's calling his shot.
Come on now.
In a certain kind of way. We'll get to that and some Madden ratings, and we'll talk about all that more right here on Ball Don't Lie. NFL news, notes, and nuggets right here on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. We know Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to our good friends at Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935, and as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our good friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a valued member of this prestigious organization, Ironworkers Local 482, and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential today and be your best self. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday. You know what that means. That means Patrick the Idealionaire plays jams from local bands and artists that you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Curtis Lee, and he is playing Saturday at the ABGB. Gonna bring some friends along, have a jam out. It's gonna be a good time.
I like this. It's nice. What's the name of this song?
Proof. This is his last single. It's really good. Curtis is a super talented guy.
Yeah, this is I like this jam, man. It's got a good groove too, especially on a Friday, and that's what 512 Fridays are all about. You can sound really cool in front of all your friends if you just keep up with Patrick on a 512 Friday. When they're like, man, what do we do tonight? We ain't got no plans, nothing to do. And you're like, hey, man, I know these really cool band that's playing at this really cool spot, and everybody go, damn, man, he's really in the know. And you really just know what Patrick's doing on a 512 Friday. So we appreciate him making all of us look a whole lot cooler. 512-337-3776. That's how you hit us on the Specs text line. You also can hit us via Twitter. Harch is at Hardball Harch in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis, the Idealionaire at It's Patrick Davis if you want to reach out to him. And I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, we'll talk some Cowboys, NFL news, notes, and nuggets here. If we don't get to the Madden ratings, then we can table those and get to those in Rod's round the day. We're going to talk Cowboys defense and offense. We got sound from Ryan Clark, NFL analyst, who is talking about the Cowboys defense, making a grand prognostication and prediction. And then we got some Brandon Cook sound of him as well, talking about that Cowboys offense this time there. So we'll get to both of those bits of audio here. And then if we don't finish up our conversation and get to the Madden ratings, then we'll get to that in Rod's round of the day because we got another 99. I believe the last. Wasn't the quarterbacks the last of the position?
I believe so.
So we have all the 99s.
We have all the rankings.
We have all the rankings, period.
Yes.
All right, we might need to just devote kind of a segment to that, actually. All right, so we'll get to that coming up and later on in this segment. If not, we can do that in Rod's rant of the day. All right, let's start with the Ryan Clark sound because this has got my man Harj all giddy. And he's feeling good about the Cowboys right now. And I've been saying the Cowboys are going to be a better defense than they were last year. And they were a top 5 defense last year. Now, what that means, I wasn't ready to say it's going to be the best defense in the league. But Ryan Clark actually was ready to jump out on that limb. He's really high on this Cowboys defense, but maybe higher than most.
And so, RC, would you say that Dallas has the best defense?
You know what? I'm a football player, so I will say this first off. We got to see them play a game. But sitting right here, right before training camp starts, I believe they have a chance to be the best defense in the entire NFL. And I don't believe there's an argument that can be put up for that. When you look at Micah Parsons now making that full transition, training the entire offseason simply to rush the passer, imagine how much better he can be that now he's not trying to play 2 positions each and every week. Mina talked to you about the depth that they now have in the secondary when last year, you know what it was? Hey, throw it away from 7. If we throw it away from 7, we are at least safe. But Deron Bland showed you down toward the end of the season that he can be a factor at the nickel position, and you had a former defensive player of the year. Dan Quinn has been sensational as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, so much so people speak of him being the head coach at some point. That's why Mike McCarthy's seat gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And Joe Witt, the pass game coordinator, whether it's blitzes, 2-minute, third down, always seems to be able to find pressure and capitalize by getting the ball back to the offense. I love what this defense is. I love going out and getting Mozzie Smith early in the draft. This team can definitely be the best defense in the entire league, and maybe that's more important than Dak Prescott not throwing 10 interceptions.
Harj, man, I don't know how long. This is when we first started working together. And I forget the guest you brought on. You brought in a guest.
Goose Goslin.
Was it Goose?
Talking about the defense, winning the championship?
Yes. And my question to Goose basically was, Goose, are the Cowboys closer to being a Super Bowl contender because of elite quarterback play or because of their elite defense / pass rush?
Right.
And he was like, probably the latter.
Yep, that was him.
And I agree. That was probably like a year plus ago.
Yeah.
And that's basically what Ryan Clark is saying now. He's saying that the defense and their ability to rush the passer, to force turnovers, by the way, led the NFL the last 2 years in takeaways. First defense since the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Steel Curtain to do that back in the early 70s.
Yep.
That their ability to do that, which is uniquely extraordinary, that's a better, more stable recipe for success, even Super Bowl run success, than depending on Dak Prescott to go out there and slang his way
Correct.
to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. I mean, that was something that we were talking about. And we all know that at the end of the day, defense wins you championships. You got to come in and make plays. Yes, you can go in there and score all the points, but you need to have a team that can go out there and stop the other team's quarterback. And that's exactly where you get different takes a lot of times.
Yep.
But I firmly believe that if the Cowboys defense and Dak takes care of the ball, not just Dak, the offense takes care of the ball and let that defense get strength, get healthy, and continue to be able to keep their breath, not be tired, not be on the field for that long, and you can go out there and score. That is why Mike McCarthy keeps saying, I want to run the ball, because he wants to give the team a break. When you're trying to go fast, and we'll get into Brandon Cooks here in a little bit, sometimes when you score too quick, that puts your team in a disadvantage because they're not rested. Because they probably was on the field for, 5 to 10 plays. They get off. You go down there and you try to score quick or go 3 and out because you're rushing yourself, and they go right back out there. That's probably why the defense got tired last year, because they were on the field so much.
They were on the field a lot.
You go three and out, but not even a punt. You
Right.
throw an interception because it's 3rd and long.
Right.
And so now the defense is back on before you even get a punt out, and you're in the wrong territory. So they're immediately on high alert and having to do it. It is just a recipe for disaster. And once a team gets a couple touchdowns on you, it's easier and easier to score the whole rest of the game. It's mentally a much harder game for defense once they're going. And if you're down, man, how hard is it, Rod, on defense when the offense isn't carrying their end of the weight? And you're just like, look, we're trying our best over here. We've allowed 7 points, and we're still losing.
Yeah, no, it's disheartening.
Very.
It's kind of deflating for a defense when they're not getting the offensive support they need. This defense, though, and some people saying the defense, collapsed down the stretch. The Cowboys defense, and this is why you got to give the Cowboys and Dan Quinn and really the front office there with the Cowboys, give them a ton of credit, because that defense last year, it did collapse at times, but it was because they had 2 big issues they couldn't resolve.
Well,
they couldn't resolve the problem of the cornerback spot opposite Trevon Diggs. Remember, they tried like 6 different players there.
And they were all getting cooked.
They were all getting, and at one point, remember, he opened up the competition.
Yes.
To the cornerback spot.
He ran everybody out there.
Like mid-season, he was like, you know what? We're going to open it up to everybody, whoever can come in and do the job. And they brought in like some free agents at the time to try to fill that void. It didn't work out. And what they do in the offseason? They traded for Stephon Gilmore.
Yes, they did.
So, problem solved.
They said, you know what? We're going to fix it ourselves, because the people we got aren't it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now they have other options, right? Who knows what, you can move Deron Bland out there, maybe if you want to. They liked Nashawn Wright, but he's got another year to develop. But now they have a former Defensive Player of the Year to remedy that issue. And on top of injury, they fixed that. That was one of their big issues they could be picked on there. That was one of the weaknesses. The other issue was, if you're a Cowboys fan, you remember this, when Jonathan Hankins got hurt, you lost your plug.
Boom, boom.
Right in the middle of that defense. You lost your kind of rock of Gibraltar in the middle of that defense.
Not Lena.
Exactly. And when that happened, and also the Leighton Vander Esch injuries also didn't help this, your rush defense collapsed. Your rush defense, which was something that you could depend on, it also collapsed down the stretch because of your loss right there up the central nervous system, right up your gut, right? Jonathan Hankins, and then, obviously Leighton Vander Esch, who last year was one of your better run defenders.
Right.
You can actually argue he was your best run defender.
He had to be, because you were missing all those people in the
You were missing
middle.
a lot of guys.
Yep.
So what do you do to remedy that? Oh, not only did we bring back Jonathan Hankins, but also we drafted in the first round Mozzie Smith, a D tackler in the first round. So we got 2 ways to fix that problem. And you got Leighton Vander Esch back, and you drafted a linebacker. A young linebacker. And now it's in addition to Jabril Cox, who's having a really good offseason, I heard, and Damone Clark, who you really like, and then you got DeMarvin Overshown. So you basically, in the offseason, you brought in multiple options who could remedy your biggest issues last season, your biggest liabilities on defense last year.
Yep.
And now I'm looking at defense and I'm thinking to myself, they may have some problems, but they're first world problems. Last year, you had a couple of
you were not part of the
you
first
had a third world problem on that
you were
cornerback
not
spot.
part of it.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think that's why everybody's high on this defense, considering those were the only two issues they had last year.
Yeah, and we saw Bossman Fats even get into that rotation, which I am predicting on Monday or Tuesday of next week when the Cowboys report, we will hear the report that Bossman Fats is in the best shape of his life, and he's looking really great.
We already got that during the.
I know, but I'm telling you, Monday or Tuesday,
selling.
report's coming out because they're reporting to camp, and they go, "Oh my God, what he did during the break by himself! Oh, he may be a Pro Bowler. We're gonna trade him, but he may be a Pro Bowler."
No, I think you're right about that because I think the Cowboys be willing to trade him because right now they have an embarrassment of riches at defensive back because they like this young DB they brought in, sixth-round pick Eric Scott.
Scott Jr. Yep.
They really like him. Apparently, there's been rave reviews about him. I mean,
another guy that might be traded, I guess.
Well, I
No,
guess
just
they can
kidding.
remember they got the increased practice squad now, expanded practice squad. I shouldn't increase, but
Yeah.
expanded practice squad. So they can put him on a practice squad. Bring
Yeah.
some of those guys in the practice squad.
My guess is they'll try and trade Bossman Fats before
Totally
and then
agree.
open up another spot for him because you get rid of the guy that has a contract coming up sooner and is a little bit older. And hey, let's take the shinier toy.
Ding, ding,
Yep.
ding. Oh, well, the cheaper one.
The cheaper.
Cheaper shiny.
It could be shiny,
Cheaper, be shiny,
but it's going to be cheap.
it's gonna
New
be-
and improved.
Newer, cheaper, at a discounted price. There ain't no doubt about that. So that's why I'm high on the Cowboys defense too. And by the way, it's been top 5 the last 2 years. This is not a huge, leap out on a limb to
Correct.
say, oh, you know what? Man, the Cowboys defense actually may be the best in the NFL this year. There were just a couple of things that were holding them back from being the best defense in the NFL last season.
It's not that far-fetched.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah.
and we just talked about the two things were the big issue at corner and the big issue at interior D-line.
Yep.
And like I said, I believe they fixed both of those issues.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dan Quinn's system, guys, it is, I think it's the most cutting-edge system of defense. And I mean just like overall philosophy of defense in the NFL.
It's player-friendly.
It is player
You
friendly.
think about it, it's player-friendly.
because
It's like,
players
what
have
am I
great
gonna do?
years in it.
Yep, exactly.
The players are all having great years. Ron Curse have his best year in it. Oh, you just watched Donovan Wilson.
Yep.
He's been maximized in the system. Leighton Vander Esch.
Deron
best
Bland
season.
had a great
Deron
season.
Bland had a great year.
First year in the NFL.
All their safeties are balling
Yeah.
under this new system. All the players, that's a great point. All the players are now being maximized. They want to play for Dan Quinn because they're having career years. Mm-hmm. And I think a part of that is turnovers because turnovers are highly valued. And the Cowboys have led the NFL in takeaways the last 2 years. At first team, like I said, since the Pittsburgh Steelers steel curtain defense to do it in the early 70s. And the reason that they're able to do this is because the defense is built on confusion and chaos, and it's a beautiful principle.
Right.
Because offenses operate with efficiency, right? They need everything operating on timing,
Yep.
efficiency.
Yep.
Execution is about timing and efficiency, and everybody doing their job. And even the quarterback steps are something that is coached. How many steps they take in their drop. The wide receivers are coached on what foot to break with an inside breaking route,
Right.
an outside breaking route when they're running their routes. Everything comes down to being as efficient as possible. This is the old Bill Walsh frame of thought. And it's great. It is great if it's all clicking. But what favors defense is chaos and confusion. The opposite of their efficiency and their timing and all that is just chaos and confusion. So you don't always have to know the result
Right.
of the chaos and confusion you cause. Just know that if I cause chaos and confusion, there's a better chance. The odds favor defense in that situation rather than offense because they're about precision. They're about timing in their execution, efficiency. And you just got to cause some chaos and confusion. And there's a good chance you're going to screw up something for the offense.
For sure.
They're not built on that.
Right.
And his defense is built on confusion. One of the principles is they run more stunts and twists and games up front with their D linemen and front seven on pass plays than any team in the NFL. As a matter of fact, they've run more stunts and twists and games up front than any team in the NFL since 2018.
Wow.
He doesn't like to blitz. He's like, he said, because when you blitz,
But he ain't been there that long, has he? He's only been there 3 years.
No, I'm saying they
six.
run since
Yeah.
any team.
Oh,
Any team. No team in the NFL since 2018 has run more twist stunts and games up front than Dan Quinn's defense with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
That's why I'm like, wait a minute. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, he ain't even been there. But
Exactly.
now
Even
he's got
Dan
his,
Quinn
with his team.
with the Falcons wasn't doing that. That's deliberate.
That is, I was
That
going
is
to say,
premeditated.
he really likes
I am
this
creating
team.
confusion up front. I want to create confusion. So your blocking schemes, whenever the center sets the protection, just know the protection you set is not the protection you need once the ball is snapped.
Correct.
Because we going somewhere else. Wherever we set up, we going somewhere else. It is the defensive equivalent of everything, everywhere, all at once.
Correct.
Throwing at you. So your
What you think you see is not what you going to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The blocking
Smoke and
scheme is
mirrors.
confused. And then Dan Quinn uses more 3 safety defense than any team in the NFL.
Right.
Nobody loves their safeties more than Dan Quinn loves his safeties. And you go look at it, Dan Quinn, I got this little stat today, just doing a little research about the defense. Dan Quinn's safeties, the trio of safeties, they played a combined 3,032 snaps in 2022. They each played at least 900-plus snaps. Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, and Jayron Kearse. No other team had a unit play over 700 snaps each. So those 3 safeties, they're used to disguise coverages and disguise looks because you can move safeties around. You can't move. It's only so much you can do with D linemen. You can move them post-snap a lot of the time. That's what Dan Quinn does. But your cornerbacks, they're going to stay where they are. You can move your linebackers around, and that's why he likes linebackers like Michael Parsons, DeMarvion Overshown. Guys, he can move around, movable chess pieces, so they can confuse the quarterback. So when the quarterback sets everything up and goes, all right, this is the strength, this is the weakness, just so you know, that's not how it's going to look once the ball is snapped. And that confusion, that chaos with the blocking scheme, with the quarterback's pre-snap read to the post-snap diagnosis, it all leads to confusion, chaos, more turnovers. Because confusion and chaos favors defense. Efficiency, timing, and precision favors offense. So if things are operating on schedule, hell, that's bad for the defense. Really bad.
Right.
That means you're probably getting your butt kicked. But if that offense is clunky and there are mistakes being made, think about Quinn Ewers and the Texas offense versus Baylor in the first half or versus Iowa State early on. Clunky. All out of sorts. That's good for the defense.
Clunky.
Bad for the defense is they're smooth, operating with efficiency, on schedule, on time. And Dan Quinn's defense, confusion and chaos.
Wow.
Chaos theory, and it's beautiful.
And he's got a lot of pieces to play with.
Yes,
He has
so
a
many.
lot of,
He's moving them around. You're like, Coach, it doesn't look the same. Like what I'm seeing in the I got about now, instead of me having 4 seconds to diagnose the defense that I already saw in the pre-snap read, now I have maybe about 2 seconds post-snap to diagnose what's going on because my pre-snap read doesn't even matter anymore.
Right.
Got to throw it out the damn window, and I gotta operate in real time, making snap decisions and processing information twice as fast as if my pre-snap read was accurate. Oh, that's why everybody's giving up the ball versus the Cowboys. He's like, dude, I'm sorry, I thought I saw something else. Yeah. And in addition to that, they're also good post-snap. Because you got some of the best pass rushers in the league, and you got one of the best corners in the league, and you got opportunistic, hard-hitting safeties. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It is my favorite defense because it's built around positionless football. That's why it's unique.
How good do you truly believe that this? Do you think it would be you think it has the capabilities of being the number 1 defense in the league?
Oh yeah, easy.
It's not hyperbole by Ryan.
No. I could easily see that happening next season. Yeah. Okay, let's get to this Brandon Cooks sound really quickly while I got a little time. Okay, so Brandon Cooks actually was speaking about his time with the Cowboys so far. And he had a lot of different things. They asked him a bunch of questions, so we'll just kind of let them go rapid fire here, and we'll come back and discuss the audio. Here's Brandon Cooks.
Brandon, one thing that you said when you got there to Dallas was better late than never. How close were you to being a Cowboy in the past?
Right off the bat, huh? Well, I mean, I would like to think it was pretty close last year before the trade deadline during the season. But, everything happens for a reason. But I'm here now, so I look forward to getting word.
Brandon, you played with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You played with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. You played with our Los Angeles Rams, 1,000 yards there. You played in Houston. What is Dak Prescott and this offense like compared to those others that you've been in?
I mean, obviously, we just had the spring, to get going. But, the biggest thing that I notice is, it's fast paced. Like, we want to get to the ball. Coach McCarthy talked about attack and not waiting and sitting back, but going out and attack. And that's what I've noticed, through our practices, through our throwing sessions. this off season. So the faster, the better. And so I'm all for that.
Brandon, you've changed teams a few times here in the league, and you've been so productive every single time you've done it. I'm wondering, what are you doing now on this new team that you maybe didn't do in the past?
Man, that's a good point. I think, just going into year 10, being able to have special receivers around me like CD, MG, and JT, not only from a production role that I'm expected, but also from a role to be able to lead. And so that's what I'm looking to bring. Obviously, I just want to get back to winning, and however that looks, I'm willing to do.
All right, Brandon, we saw a graphic on before, 6,000-yard seasons. Is it time to get number 7?
It's time to get back. But, a lot has to come with that. And at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we got some special guys throughout the offense and all the offensive weapons that we have. I'm going to just do what I can to the best of my ability. And when we look up at the end of the season, we'll see where we're at.
All right, Cowboys, this is the first time they've had 3 receivers on their roster who've each had 1,000 yards at any point in their career. So it's a prolific bunch, Harge. It's a prolific group. Look at you smiling.
Man, if you could see me on the camera, I'm showing you all 32, baby. I'm showing you all 32. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about, though. How can this offense execute at a very high level? You may have all that ability. We've seen it happen before. Are you capable of being consistent? And they said that they want to run the ball. We've already gone through that, play action, get some guys open. Mm-hmm. But when you look at what a CD Lamb can do on the field, when you look at what a Brennan Cooks can do on the field, this is an exciting brand of football. The one thing that consistently I go back to is, to me, Brandon Cooks is Amari Cooper. He's got that deep play ability for you. He can stretch the field for you. That's what you were missing when you let him go. I'm still mad that you let him go. But you're trying to correct it, but is it a little too late? Is Brandon Cooks still that guy? He seems to be. He seems to believe that he can still be that guy. And if Dak and him can form that relationship, I already told you, they were in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He took all the tight ends and all the wide receivers to Atlanta with him. Yeah, I hope it can happen because I expect big things from Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I just think you have 2 guys, well, 3, that you should be confident that they can beat man-to-man coverage consistently.
Yeah.
CD, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup.
Gallup.
They're paid the kind of money where they should be dependable enough that you are confident they can consistently beat man-to-man coverage, which means you can only double. It's a mathematical equation. Football is at its most rudimentary level. You only got 11 guys. You can only double so many players per down.
Right.
And
that's what I'm saying. There's a problem.
Yeah, so they present a mathematical equation that's going to be really tough for defenses to solve, which is, are you just going to leave Michael Gallup one-on-one? Some tells me Michael Gallup will get one-on-one consistently.
Then Michael Gallup grow up.
Then he's got to win.
Got to grow up, win your battles.
And then you would love one of the tight ends.
Hey, Jake Ferguson.
To step up. And also, it'd be Ferguson, Schoonmaker. They just drafted him in the 2nd round, right, from Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
One of those guys steps up, and then you also have someone who can consistently beat one-on-one coverage. That's what's going to come down to for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because CeeDee Lamb's not going to surprise anybody anymore. CeeDee Lamb plays in the slot more than any other receiver in the NFL. They'll probably continue. He's really productive there, too. But also, that means they'll be trying to take him away. Harder to take guys away when they're inside, and they'll be trying to take Brandon Cooks away. But he has the speed that he can take the top off of a defense.
Yeah, he can get from you.
And yeah, he
fast.
Really can.
Yeah.
And they haven't had that for the Cowboys in a little while either. All right, we come back. Enough Cowboys discussion. Well, not enough. We'll talk some Madden ratings because that also may be some Cowboys discussion. Yeah, so we have all the Madden ratings. We'll get into those coming up on the other side and discuss the 99s. Now we have all the 99s, which are the top players based on Madden ratings in all of the NFL. We'll discuss that and discuss why they are deserving of such high ratings. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let's talk about my favorite beer because it's the world's favorite light beer. That's Bud Light. And as I get older, I get a little bit wiser, and I'm leaving some things in the past. And I'm ready to leave some things in the past, like social distancing and council culture, even Big 12. But one thing I'll never leave in the past is my favorite beer. That's Bud Light. Been drinking it ever since my days on the 40 acres, even my days in the NFL. And now, hey, just reward myself after a long, hard day to decompress after a day of work or to to relax and beat the Texas heat, which is tough to do. I can pop the top on a nice ice cold Bud Light. It's Friday, which means it's officially the weekend. The weekend's all about good times, and what better way to turn those good times into great times than to do it with Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. You want to get the good times going, just make sure you keep the Bud Light flowing, and there'll be lots of Bud Light flowing this weekend for me. Should be for you as well. Make sure you stop by your local convenience store, grocery store, and pick up a nice ice cold case of Bud Light. Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas, by Texans, for Texans, and damn proud of it. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to get into some of these Madden ratings. So we didn't have time to get to it in the last segment. And Patrick sent they have basically the database, the Madden database. All the Madden ratings are out. It's official. And we basically have 599s, which are the best players. And that's the highest you can get.
Yep.
They don't give out hundreds. I think
Anymore.
They did when they first started.
Yeah.
I think the first Madden. After that, they stopped. I believe you get like the legacy package, like the Hall of Famers and that kind of stuff. Maybe they can be 100. But I hadn't played the game in a while, I'll admit. So Aaron Donald, 99. By the way, Aaron Donald's. I don't play the Madden game, so I don't know. I don't keep up with it a ton. But I did see these stats. He's been 99 for 7 straight years.
Yeah.
7 straight years he's been a 99?
Dominant player. That's how you get that. That's how you get there. That's how you get recognized as that.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Like, I did not realize that. So,
Yeah, he's a problem for real.
7 straight years. And you know what? Hey, man, I don't disagree with that. That dude's
Exactly.
a monster. He's got his BGO is still I still think it might be the best in the league. Even to him aging as an older man,
in a short space.
Yeah,
that he can dominate a game and get that many sacks in a game from the nose tackle, basically.
Yeah, he's averaging. How about this? He averaged the quickest rush get off, which is BGO, ball get off, 0.86 seconds of any defensive tackle in 2022 for the 4th consecutive season. He's had the quickest BGO of any defensive tackle.
He has grown men peeing down their leg, bro.
It's crazy.
Because you know your week is going to be a mess.
Yeah, man.
Because you're going against that monster every play.
No, he's a menace.
Yeah.
He is a menace.
For sure.
No doubt about it. The other 99 you have is Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
He was Offensive Player of the Year last year, and I believe he was in the MVP.
He was in the
balloting.
yeah, he was.
He was. But he obviously didn't get any true love and recognition there.
And
but
he did
at least,
that with Kirk Cousins.
And he did it with Kirk Cousins. You like Kirk Cousins
I
now.
do. I know.
Because the quarterback's Netflix special, now you're a Kirk Cousins fan.
Man, he will not be on my fantasy team, but I don't hope nobody else picks him.
Now you're a
because he
Kirk
puts up
Cousins
numbers.
fan. No, you're not the only one who I've heard say that.
Man.
Multiple people have said he comes off very well on that show.
Very well.
That he's very likable on that show. I haven't watched it. I'll binge it this weekend.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so Justin Jefferson on there. Patrick Mahomes makes it too.
We thought that.
Not surprised. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, the Patrick Mahomes stats are crazy. I'll give you a couple of them since we're talking about the 99 and what makes him 99. He might end up on a streak of 99.
Yep.
Did he have it last year?
That's a great
I think
question.
he did.
I think he might have had it since his MVP year. Maybe.
I know he's had it multiple times.
He's had it already one time. I'll go back and look at it, but I bet he may be on a little streak. He may get on a streak. Well, he gets it. You know, 5-6 straight years, 99.
I wouldn't be surprised by it.
I love Patrick Mahomes' stats are freaky and crazy. They're kind of Shohei Ohtani-ish, Wilt Chamberlain-like stats right now. So I just love to bring him up anytime I can. He has the highest career playoff passer rating at 107.4. He also has the highest career regular season passer rating. It's 105.7. His career playoff passer rating, which is a record, is higher than his record regular season passer rating. He's a better quarterback in the playoffs than he is
In the regular
at
season.
the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, let that sink in.
Think about what you said.
Let it sink in. Come on now.
Most of the people that want to be champions
That's
do it in the
crazy.
playoffs. What do you say? We always remember what you do later in the season.
That is, like I said, that he's got some freaky cartoonish stats. Oh, here's another one too, just for you, since we're just giving up cartoonish stats about Patrick Mahomes. He has won his winning percentage in games where his team was losing by double digits at any point in the game is 200 points higher than any other quarterback in NFL history.
Man.
You want me to repeat that stat? Y'all didn't pick it up? I'll repeat it again.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Mahomes' winning percentage in games where his team was losing by double digits at any point in the game is 200 points higher than any other quarterback in NFL history.
Hey, when you watch
That
him
is
on
crazy,
that,
man.
when you watch him on quarterback, you're going to understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Mahomes. Oh, okay, one more.
Come on.
One more. Okay. Mahomes' stats at home compared to his stats on the road. 7.7 yards per attempt at home, 8.5 yards per attempt on the road. 290 yards per game at home, 314 yards passing on the road on average. He has a 5.8 touchdown percentage at home, 7.0 touchdown percentage on the road, 1.7 interception percentage at home, 1.6 interception percentage on the road. 4.3 sack percentage at home, 3.5 sack percentage at home, 100.5 passer rating at home, 110.4 passer rating on the road. So every stat that I just mentioned, he's better on the road than he is at home. Who the hell is that?
Hey, man, that's why he dials in. He knows what it's – he loves – again, when you watch this weekend, you're going to understand why. Dude loves when everybody's yelling at him.
Crazy, man.
His daddy say, we built different.
He built different.
Built different.
That is true. No doubt about that. So that's why he deserves 99, no question. Travis Kelce gets 99.
No.
Well deserved.
Getting it from his quarterback.
How often have we had, I'm going to look this up too in the break because I'm asking myself a question I don't know the answer to. I'm just throwing it out there. How often 2 99s on the same team in the same season?
How often are 2 99s on the same team on the same side of the ball?
Exactly.
That's the better part.
Same side of the ball in the same season.
Yeah.
99.
Yeah, I don't know if Madden was kicking in when it would have happened in the
For
49ers.
the Cowboys or the 49ers back in the day. Yeah, that would make sense, yeah.
Cowboys
49ers.
back in the day, 49ers back in the day.
And because the Patriots weren't built like that.
Right.
No.
Maybe the Randy Moss year?
Randy Moss could have
Randy
been.
Moss
But I don't think Randy Moss would have gotten it that year. I think it would have been the next year.
Yeah.
When they both would have been 99s because they put up those stats.
I'm
So
gonna
maybe they
research
got
this.
up to it, but I don't know if at the beginning.
That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to research it. In the break, I'll figure that out. I promise. I'm on it. Okay, the Travis Kelce, by the way, people don't give him enough props. How about this? He set career highs in targets, receptions, and touchdowns last year, and his 1,338 yards receiving were his second most in his career. 7th straight season over 1,000 yards.
It's good to be best friends with the quarterback.
No other tight end in NFL history has more than like 4,000-yard seasons in their entire career.
It's great to be best friends with the quarterback.
No,
I'm telling you.
that is a crazy stat.
I would be kicking it with Patrick Mahomes all the time, too. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Somebody said Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, just a guess. That might work.
That probably is on there,
that
too.
could have been, yeah.
That definitely could have been.
That makes sense. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm going to go look this up, though.
Yeah.
You know, I really am. I'm going to figure this out because now I'm curious. But, yeah, Travis Kelce. And, by the way, Travis Kelce is the best bargain skill player positionally in the NFL because he's paid like a top tight end, but he's the best, one of the best receivers in the game.
Yeah.
Like you pay him top tight end money. The average top 5 tight end makes $14.9 million per year. Average top 5 wide receiver, $27.4 million per year.
Which is why Jimmy Graham wanted to be paid as a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's got the most receiving yards in the NFL since 2015.
Right.
Period. Any position.
Yeah. Again, that's why it's good to be best friends with the quarterback.
Yes, it is.
It is good
Repeat
to be
it. Say it loud for people in the back.
I'm going to tell you, be best friends with your quarterback, wide receivers, or tight ends.
No matter who you're.
And no matter
Centers,
where. Yeah,
O-line,
exactly.
running back, ask Zeke and Dak. No,
Exactly.
You want to be friends
Ask
with the
anyone
quarterback.
of Aaron Rodgers' friends.
Exactly.
Because they all getting jobs.
He got like 4 or 5 of them signed with the Jets.
And
the
Randall
Packers.
Cobb has been done in the league for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's still getting checks from the league.
They still call him Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
He was like 43.
Exactly.
Hey, yeah, you're right. It's good to be friends with the quarterback, no doubt.
No doubt.
And then the other 99 is Zach Martin. We talked about him for the Cowboys.
Yep.
And he is the only guard. He's the first guard, right, to get a 99
Since
in Madden.
2003. And it was Larry Allen.
It was Larry Allen.
Yeah.
I will ask you, Dak Prescott, 6th highest ranked quarterback, tied with Justin Herbert for 6th.
Told y'all.
6th race, better than Aaron Rodgers.
That's because
that
everybody.
fair?
I
That's
think,
fair?
I don't think that's fair. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. You can't put him down there. The dude was just the MVP.
It's a yearly thing. So
And
they're
they
updating.
didn't have the faith.
There's
It's
so
a
many-
chirping
yeah.
thing too. It's a let's talk about it.
That's
Why is
fair.
Aaron Rodgers not in there? Oh my goodness, look at it. But then you sit here and you look at it. I've been wanting to ask you this, Rob. When you went and looked at the defensive back position, Did you think they got that right? Did you think anybody deserved to be a 99?
Yeah, let me check the defensive backs again.
The defense,
Yeah.
the highest ranked defensive back is Jalen Ramsey, and that was a 97.
Are we going cornerback? Because are they going cornerback or safety, or are they just going DB?
DB, I guess.
I don't, because it says cornerback here. I'm gonna see. Got me cornerback. I don't know if it filter gives me the chance to go to safety. On there.
Well, that's an interesting part of it then, because
What
I
to
was
see?
looking at.
Did you see the safety on there? Safeties?
I guess they're using them as the defensive backs.
Okay.
I guess they're just putting them as.
There's a free
there's
safety and a
free
strong
safety
safety.
and a strong. Yeah.
Oh, so they divided everything up.
Yeah, well, because that's
specifically.
in the game.
Yeah, I know.
There's a free and a
That's what I'm
strong,
saying.
so that's why they did by.
Yeah, so I guess we got to go to like the overall ratings and see.
So the overall rating I got right
You see,
here
like,
is
who the-
Jalen Ramsey at cornerback, just cornerback.
Yeah,
I
he's the
got
top one.
97, and then
Okay.
Jair Alexander is 95. Patrick Surtain II is 94. Marlon Humphrey 93, and Sauce Gardner 93. Those are the top 5 at that position.
I think Jalen Ramsey might be a little overrated. I love Jalen Ramsey.
I remember we had this
But
conversation
I
last
think,
year
I
about
think Jalen Ramsey is just a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
And I probably would put Sauce a little higher.
Okay.
And Sauce
Okay.
is amazing. I do love Derwin James. Derwin James, yeah, he deserves to be where he is. Derwin James is a freak. I love me some Derwin James.
Derwin James is one of my favorite players, and I liked
Yeah.
him when he was at Florida State.
Yeah.
That's how deep I go with Derwin James.
They got Patrick Surtain, though, ahead of Sauce Gardner on here, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And here he was, Rookie of the Year. You know?
Yeah. Patrick
So-
Surtain is I mean, we're talking about, this is different between, Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson. I mean,
Yeah, we're
they're
splitting
both,
hairs.
they're
We're
both
splitting
fantastic.
hairs.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
I
either
think
way.
I think the Madden
What about
guys.
they treating him
Madden
like
guys
Mila
don't-
Kunis?
Yeah, the Madden guys not fans of the Jets apparently.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you're right about that.
Maybe there's
they're-
some
yeah.
bias.
Yeah, you could be right about that. I didn't look at that. Maybe they don't like the Jets as much as everybody else does. But I Sauce Gardner, to me, I'd have him a little bit higher. But the DBs, year to year, that's
Yeah.
going to change. Trevon Diggs was upset with his rating.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that. Trevon Diggs was upset. He did not like, I think he was like the 8th best cornerback or something like that.
Yeah.
Was not happy with his rating. The best thing Madden ever did was get players obsessed with their ratings. And honestly, I wouldn't doubt in their front office, in their executive offices, if they're trolling some players on purpose.
Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly, because they
Aaron
know
Rodgers.
like either
Yeah.
the fans of that player or that player themselves will make a big deal of the ratings,
Right.
which helps them.
No doubt.
Because we talk
Wait,
about the ratings.
Do you think
segments
they were
this.
like, hey man, we need to get some more mentions in Hard Knocks? Just
Yes.
rank the Jets.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yep.
brilliant. No, that's money. That makes perfect sense. Because if I'm not mistaken, don't they the ratings during the season they change?
They
Yes.
do. They
yeah,
do.
because they get updates and everything.
Yeah, well,
So-
because you get like a rookie who way overperforms,
Yeah, and
then
yeah.
it's stupid if you're playing the game and
the guy still sucks.
in
Yeah.
November, December, and you're
Yeah.
like, this dude is defensive player of the year,
Yeah.
and he's like a 65.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So they'll change. So it's not that big of an issue, but it's awesome that the players take it personally.
In the safety position, it's Minka Fitzpatrick, number 1, Justin Simmons, number 2, Kevin Byard
Oh, he's a good player.
is number 3, Tyrann Mathieu is number 4, Jesse Bates III is number 5. Our man Quandre Diggs is number 10 at an 87, and he too was
upset?
not happy
Yeah, I'm sure
about
he was.
what his numbers look like.
Yeah, I'm sure Quandre was upset about that.
You
yeah.
don't want Quandre the Giant getting
But the
upset,
truth
man.
is, I love Quandre, but unless Quandre was the top safety, he
Yeah.
was gonna be a little upset about his rating. I know Quandre was. Quandre gonna be unless he's seen as the top guy, he gonna have a problem with it. That's why he's the man.
And for the Texans, no surprise who their highest rated player is. It's Laramie Tunsil.
Yes.
You figure that left tackle. He's a 95, I believe. He'll be the highest rated player.
And he's the best pass blocking offensive lineman on the game.
Yes, he is.
He has the highest pass blocking grade on the game.
good for CJ Stroud because I believe he's a 73.
Yeah.
Not thrilled about his score.
Yeah, you know what?
Hey, rookie,
it's
come
proven.
on, dog.
Like I said, show me
Yeah.
something, young buck. Show me something out there. I wonder what Damian Pierce was actually in running backs.
He's an 83, I think. He
Oh,
was
that's
one of
not
the
bad.
higher ranked Texans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not bad. He should be because he had a hell of a rookie year, fantastic
Mm-hmm.
rookie year. Speaking of performance pay based pool, he might have got some of that cash too.
Straight cash out.
Okay, we come back. There you go. Some of the Madden ratings. We come back. We'll get a little more off the record on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite tequila. My go-to tequila is Hot Cat Tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila. And the recipe, just as simple, just as delicious, and just as brilliant. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. It's every tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, well, Hot Cat Tequila is so damn good. It'll turn you into a fan of tequila. It'll turn any event into a party. Every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Best way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. Best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit Cat Tequila. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves up Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick the Ideationaire takes jams from local bands and artists and plays those jams for us and lets you know exactly how you can see these very talented individuals live and in person. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Crimson Devils, and they're playing Saturday at Sagebrush.
Nice. I like that. Where's Sagebrush?
Sagebrush, I believe, is over there on South First and William Cannon, maybe over in that area, maybe. It's southeast-ish.
There you go.
Just west of 35.
It's called Google.
Yeah,
You can Google it.
you're gonna type it in your
Google me.
Look,
You can Google
you're
it.
gonna type it into your navigator anyway.
That's true. You're gonna put.
You don't know how to get anywhere.
Unfortunately, you don't. We don't remember phone numbers anymore. Remember like 3 of those. Everybody can remember. If you basically the over under is 5 is over under for how many numbers you can actually remember
Right.
in your head.
Yeah,
Do you-
that are
can you
still
remember
active.
5 numbers.
That are still active.
Can you? Yeah, that are still like actual numbers of human beings, like off the top of your dome from your memory.
I can remember my phone number.
Okay, what about your wife's? Probably your
Oh,
wife's.
yeah.
Yeah,
And my kids.
that's about it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
That's all you need.
and my mama.
Hey, there you go.
And my mama.
You might be better. You might be more than 5 then.
I mean, I don't like looking at it.
You would-
Hey, look. Call.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what we
Exactly.
do
Look,
now.
everybody does. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. Washington Commanders fans are happy because Dan Snyder is no longer the owner of the team. It's official. The sale did finalize yesterday, and it sold to a reported $6 billion, a little over $6 billion, because of his his ways and his very I would say some of the investigations findings that found that he was inappropriate. And that he violated the NFL's not their conduct policy, but I think their decency clause, even for their owners. They fined him $60 million.
60 mil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for engaging in conduct essentially unbecoming of an owner.
It's unbelievable that all of that has gone down and he continued to keep, number one, own the team because obviously he was the owner, but he put himself in such a bad light that even a man like Ron Rivera couldn't right the ship with all the accusations and everything else that he was going through. It was such a bad thing. And as a matter of fact, somebody did the math on this. He paid $800 million for the team. He sold it for $6.05 billion. He had it for 24 years. He played 386 games. He had a regular season. The team had a regular season record of 164, 220, and 2. He had 10 coaches, including interims, 6 playoff berths, 4 division titles, federal investigations, 4, NFL investigations, 2, AG investigations, 3, 3 team names, 27 starting quarterbacks. And through all of that, he only had 2 All-Pros.
Wow.
And remember, you brought this up yesterday. I don't know if
crazy.
you said it on air or behind the scenes, where Jay Gruden said
he did.
he didn't even look at film and said, we need to go get these guys.
Hey, not a good value-added talent. Hired you, Jay Gruden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, look, let's put it this way. The reason the NFL did this and they fined him when they did was to try and pretend like they didn't just give a guy who's a real piece of garbage $6 billion.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Yep.
This guy did everything wrong. He cheated. He lied. He abused. He got paid $6 billion, and they went, well, that's a bad story. So say we find him $60 million, then we're on the upper ground. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. It's how America works. He beat the system. He wins. But, yeah, a guy who basically did everything in his power to do things the wrong way profits very well off
Profits
that.
very well.
Yeah, I mean, no, we know that. People will say, "Well, cheating doesn't pay," or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It
Well,
does.
Exactly.
Pays pretty well.
$1 billion.
Except for sports, business, and politics. But other than that, cheating doesn't pay. Yeah, no, you're right about that. And it just shows you the NFL. What did Denver Nuggets sell? It's not Denver Nuggets. Sorry, Denver Broncos sell for. What was that? $4.5 billion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a year ago. It was like just a year ago. But I'm just saying, like the value of the franchise.
And we're not in the shape that the Commanders are in. It's just a complete part of this though. Part of the reasons why it's big is because they're going to get basically a publicly funded building out of it. Because they're going to be able to work
a new
it.
stadium.
So Denver you don't get a new stadium with it, but they're buying in the new team. You're like, also the city's going to throw in all this money to get us a new stadium because you desperately need one.
Well, and everybody in sports, not just in that community of fans for Washington, everybody wanted Dan Snyder out of there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Everybody. Like you're talking about, is he the most hated owner in the history of pro sports?
He has to be.
Modern pro sports.
No, what's his name from the Clippers?
Oh yeah,
Donald Sterling.
Donald Sterling.
Marge
Yeah.
Schott was awful too for
Yeah.
Cincinnati. But it was funny because yesterday they saw Jerry Jones coming up the stairs. He was coming up the escalator, and he said, "It's a glorious day in football today," because he knew it was about to be going down. He knew he was going to get him out of there.
And he's going to get some more money.
And the other part of it is, too,
cash flow, baby.
It kind of takes some of the noise that was being brought up around all these other teams away from it, because now that he's gone, do we have an open records request that we can get for everything that everybody else was going through? Don't forget, not only Jay Gruden, don't forget John Gruden was part of the investigation as well.
You're right about that.
So I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, well, hopefully. I think they're hoping all of it goes away. All the investigations. All right, we come back. We'll get into some more Texas football discussion on the other side. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick the Idillionaire plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Chris Castaneda, and he is playing down Saturday at the Rail House in Kyle.
All right, there you go. Even you folks in Cal getting a little love.
I've been to the Rail House before.
You have been to the Rail House before?
Yep.
Nice. Did you go there to see a band? Or you
No, I
just
just went to go kick it.
Okay.
We were down there for an event, a sporting event, and I just kicked it over there for a while.
Or is it like a bar, restaurant?
Yeah.
Like, is this
So yeah, they got a bar. They got some food trucks there. They got got an inside area.
Nice.
Yep.
There you go.
They have an outside area too, where it's where they have a big stage.
Yeah.
And then they call it the Rail House because a train goes right by it, like every 45 minutes.
Yep.
Does the train make a lot of noise when it goes by?
Yes, it's very loud.
Well, what does that do for the bands that are
They
playing?
just keep playing.
They just keep playing.
It's just an interesting way to see a band because you be playing and all of a sudden, and then if you get some talented people, they may change the lyrics of a song to be about the train or you good.
I like that. Okay,
Yep.
there you go. You got to have something unique about your spot that sets it
Absolutely.
apart.
Exactly.
That definitely sounds unique there. So thanks to Patrick for a 512 Friday once again. 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. You can always hit us up there, or you can use the Twitterverse. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. You can hit me up there as well. A little Texas football discussion while we have a little time here. Xavier Worthy apparently is, he's looking forward to having a big year. We know that. There's been a lot of talk that he is in the best shape that he's been in since he's on the 40 acres, since he's been on the 40 acres, and that in the offseason so far, with him being fully healthy, that he is focused. And now we have him, the best version of Xavier Worthy they've seen, which is scary because his freshman year, he was one of the better receivers in the country. There is a National College Football analyst who right now, at least NFL Rookie Watch, they're making a comparison that Xavier Worthy could be the Devontae Smith of this upcoming draft. Says Xavier Worthy is reportedly thought to be comparable to Devontae Smith as a prospect. This according to Rick Spielman, who's a former NFL GM. Worthy is listed at 6'1", 172, which is a little light. Devontae Smith listed at 6'1", 170. So NFL scouts reportedly believe that Xavier Worthy has the potential to be a first-round pick by the end of this season, and we all know the first 2 years that Xavier Worthy's had has made him one of the top receivers in the country for his junior campaign.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith comparisons make sense because Sark knows how to use those types of wide receivers. Sark likes the slender, slight-ish wide receiver. He does. He's got a type, and they're speed demons, so you got to have speed.
They got to be able to move.
But
Yep.
he doesn't necessarily need him to be thick or big. Remember, Tom Herman liked tall, big receivers who can win 50-50 balls. He wanted guys like, recruited Troy Murray, and he had guys like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Colin Johnson that he wanted to be kind of his showcase wide receivers.
His big body guys were on the outside, unlike the big humans that Sark is looking for.
Yeah, he actually had small humans inside,
exactly.
and he had big receivers on the outside.
Yep.
Hey, man, plenty of ways to skin a catfish, as we all know.
We know everybody the same size.
Pretty much. I mean,
Like Baylor.
Remember, exactly. Nobody more than 320 pounds on the roster. But remember when Sark came in, he remarked that he was like, why do we have more receivers than we do offensive linemen?
Right.
And that doesn't make any sense. So now Texas has
He
a
letting
ton
you know.
of offensive linemen, been stockpiling them, but he also is stockpiling wide receivers too. That's one of the more talented receivers rooms in the country right now. But I think that Xavier Worthy does fit the type of receiver that Sark likes. I've been studying this for a little while, and I went and found receivers who basically look at body mass index, receivers who are slight in frame, similar to Xavier Worthy. And body mass index is basically a formula of height and weight. And based on this formula, they come up with body mass index. If you look at BMI below 25, all right, and by the way, if you want to think about Devontae Smith, he's at 23.1 body mass index. So he's considered a really small-ish wide receiver. And even coming out, that was one of the big concerns. But he's still drafted 10th overall, and he's had success in the league. So since 2000, if you go look at just rounds 1 and 2, since 2000, there have been 24 wide receivers drafted with a 25 BMI or less. 9 of those have happened since Devontae Smith got drafted in 2021, which means in the last 3 years, you've had 10 such wide receivers drafted. And it means in the previous 21 years prior to 2021, the previous 21 years going all the way back to 2000, you had only 14 wide receivers drafted in the first 2 rounds with a body mass index of 25 or less. But since Devontae Smith made his debut in the NFL, since he was drafted, you've had 9 such receivers. So 10 receivers with 25 or less BMI drafted in the first 2 rounds in the last 3 years, and you had 8 such receivers drafted in the previous 16 years combined. So not aside from what they do productivity-wise in the NFL, Sark is definitely given a lot of credit for popularizing these small-ish, slight-ish receivers who are just speed demons that the NFL has also learned to covet, just like Sark covets.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at some of the names from this year's draft, and you tried to figure out where the wide receivers, because remember, in this draft, I think the only one that everybody was looking at was Njigba, right?
Like Jackson Smith and Njigba?
Yeah, I think he was the first wide receiver off the board, and he was a little bit different. But then they went on that run where it was
Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, and Quentin Johnston.
Yep.
And he's the different one, though, because he's more of the longer,
big body.
stretched out one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's an interesting bit of information, especially when you're looking at that wide receiver position and what X-Man is going to bring to the table. We all know he's an electrifying player and can take it to the house at any moment. But it's definitely one of those things when you start talking about BMI and how the trend is starting to go in that direction.
Yeah, and I do think also it helps that more wide receivers play in the slot now, have two-way goes so they can get a free release. You don't have to worry about getting rerouted exactly. And there's a lot more pre-snap motions and shifts, and like Sark does, Sark moves Xavier Worthy around a lot to make sure that he can't be rerouted to keep DBs from being able to get their hands on him. NFL's teams are doing that a lot as well, so that also makes receivers who didn't have the bulk and the physique that they wanted, it makes them more attractive now because you have ways to get them open, and the NFL is just not the physical league that it once was. I mean, these guys are not. Don't worry about somebody laying a haymaker on them when they cross the middle anymore, because that's a flag. That's something that will get you kicked out of an NFL game now.
Right.
So the element of intimidation and physicality, is no longer a threat. So it's easier for these slight-ish wide receivers to be playing at a high level.
And the other part that you've been talking about, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, the motion. The motion of the wide receiver now, they're always moving, so you never really can put your hand on them because they're going to move them in the slot and going to move them in motion and send them to motion. So it makes it very difficult to knock them off their routes.
Yeah, and it also they put them in a lot of bunch formations, bunch stack them up. So you can't get your hands on the guys. So those guys can play. And the guys this year that came out there were below that 25 BMI threshold. Jordan Addison was 24.1, and Marvin Mims was 24.7. So that was a 1 first rounder, 1 second rounder that was there. Zay Flowers actually was a little thicker. He was 26.1 because he's 5'10", 180. He's thick with a little thicker. And the other guy, Tank Dell, 25.1. He's right there on the cusp.
I was going to say,
5'8",
very slight.
Yeah, so if you want to, you can throw him in there. But he was in the 3rd round,
if
I'm not mistaken. I did just 1st and 2nd round wide receivers, just high draft capital. Getting back to the Longhorn conversation, football conversation here, because shout out to my man Chip Brown. He did a piece, his insider report today, and I think it was yesterday actually. And in insider report, he had some nice little nuggets about the defense. And we started talking about the linebackers last segment, so I'll give you this little nugget about the defensive backs. It says here, my man Chip Brown on his Horns 24/7 piece, insider. Gary Patterson always told me he considers the nickel back cornerback position to be a safety because of the physicality nickels need to have playing near the line of scrimmage while also being able to cover deep when called upon. And Patterson, reportedly based on this insider piece from my man Chip Brown, was a big fan of Jahdae Barron. Big fan of Jahdae Barron. And team source said Barron is developing a really strong bond with Arkansas transfer safety Jalen Catalon.
Smart
Says
move.
he loves to watch film, just like I do, Barron said of Catalon at Big 12 Media Days. It's amazing how smart he is on the field. We communicate well. I think we're going to make a lot of plays together. I think you'll see the best version of Catalon this season, period. The team source said the communication between Catalon and Barron should help both players disguise these things until the last possible second. You do that well enough, and you'll create some ill-advised throws and turnover opportunities. We literally just talked about that with Dan Quinn. That's what Dan Quinn is doing by being able to confuse pre-snap reads and confuse their post-snap diagnosis. You have these quarterbacks who are a little bit discombobulated, and confusion and chaos caused by a lot of stunts and twists up front, confusing the blocking schemes, and it's resulting in bad decisions.
Yep.
And
That's why
turnovers.
I was just about to say that's why they're creating all their turnovers. I still go back to the combination that you talked about last year with Jalen Ford and DeMarvion Overshown, knowing how to confuse the people, and if they see one read, they jump and react another way on another read. So for me, with Jahdae Barron and what he's become, you and I were talking about it during the break, this guy is uber talented.
He really is.
And remember, we got him late because of a coaching change at Baylor.
Yeah. Also, Matt Rule guy.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he's like, yeah, I think I'll come to Texas. And we're like, yes, come to Texas. Because I got a chance to see him when he was at Conley, Pflugerville Conley. And I was like, I can't believe that Texas is not on this guy. And then all of a sudden, he comes and it was like, okay, and he fits every position that they had him playing. He found a way to maximize it.
Yeah, and I love this piece here by Trip Brown, and I'm going to do some more research on this over the weekend because he's bringing up Gary Patterson saying, nickels in the Big 12 are basically more like safeties. I've always said nickel is the most important and probably the toughest position to play in all the Big 12 because you got to blitz. Yep. You got to drop back in zone coverage. You got to take on blocks and run fit. I'm talking about taking on tight ends and offensive linemen sometimes. You got to be able to cover man-to-man. Yep. I need you also to be able to be a sound tackler in the open field. I mean, you have to have the most well-rounded skill set, arguably on defense, period, to play the nickel position in the Big 12. And he's saying, basically, Gary Patterson is saying that you play it more like a safety because you have to have so many different high-level skills and traits. You can't just be like, oh, man, I cover really well and I can play nickel. No, you got to be able to do a lot of things really well. And Texas last season, they didn't use a lot of three-high safety looks. I think I saw the concept used by them defensively maybe one game, and that's in the Texas Tech game. You just don't see it a lot from Texas. I wonder if this year you'll see more of the three-high safety looks, even if they're not using it with their actual three safeties with Jalen Catalon, Jaron Thompson, and Keaton Crawford. They have three safeties they can use. They believe all those guys are starting safeties in Big 12 play, or starting caliber safeties, I should say, in Big 12 play. But also Jahdae Barron, based on this report, is also someone that can be used in that capacity as a safety. Yeah. At times. That's what they did in that Texas Tech game. They used him as a safety. Listen, Sark's Achilles heel is going up against those three-high, three-down defenses. He really can't really figure them out. He's getting better against those three-high defenses, but he still hasn't really solved them because they're really tough against hybrid spread schemes. And I wonder if Texas now will give teams a taste of their own medicine, and they'll start using three safeties because Texas legitimately has 6 DBs that I think are starters. They have Jahdae Barron, they have Ryan Watts. I think Terrence Brooks will prove himself at the field corner. But then they got Keaton Crawford, they got Jalen Catalon,
they just
and
brought
they
in
got Jaron Thompson.
And they just brought in Gavin Holmes.
Yeah.
Who's got playing time, who's played in the ACC. So you got people that can go out there, and don't forget, Coach Sark and Dan Quinn are really good friends.
They are close.
Therefore, that you can get your defensive coordinator to go over there and spend some time with Dan Quinn and learn how to maximize the best players on your team by having them on the field.
No, I agree. You don't need Dan Quinn, though. And the Big 12's become a three-high safety defensive league for the last, 6 years or so.
Yeah.
They pioneered it and popularized it there at Iowa State, and now everybody keeps using it against Texas. TCU now runs a version of it. Tech runs some version of it. Oklahoma State has run some version of it. Played Arkansas, they run a version. Almost everybody's running some version of it. Iowa State runs the most most popular version of it. Hell, Oklahoma, where Brent Venables, he's going to run a version of it. Everybody's running a version of it, except for Texas. Texas, you should have a version of it.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
This your time.
Have a version of it. Right now, you got
This
so
your
many really
time.
good DBs.
Yep.
It's a really good way to diversify a lot of those
Rob,
packages.
don't tell everybody that we're going to do it, man. We're going to do it.
Man, yeah, that's true. Sometimes I can, but ain't nobody listening to me.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Coaches ain't listening. I'm talking about opposing coaches.
Oh.
Fans are listening to me. Opposing coaches aren't listening. If they are, then good for them. They're smart. If they're, I doubt it, though. They ain't got that kind of time on their hands. All right, let's get to, real quick while we got a little time, Texas basketball. There were some updates on the men's Texas basketball schedule. A bit of a reveal. And they didn't give you, of course, any, we didn't get dates, but we do have the opponents that Texas will play in the new look Big 12. Texas will have home and away games with Baylor, U of H, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and West Virginia. So you get your home and home there. But you'll face teams, basically you'll host only these teams: UCF, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and then your road games, only road games for these opponents: BYU, Cincinnati, Kansas, and TCU on the road. Longhorn basketball fans are a little upset about the Kansas road trip without a return trip. I do get that.
That was. I'm the one that's really mad about that.
I don't think I've seen some people on social media bring it up too.
That would have been the one that I wanted to look at. But I am excited about the home and home with the University of Houston. That's a big time basketball game because obviously Houston has been one of the premier programs in basketball here since Kelvin Sampson got there. He continues to bring out great basketball players, so that will be a fun game. Obviously, Baylor's always a tough one, but I wanted to see
national
Central.
champs, like 3 years ago?
Yeah, and I definitely want to see what Central Florida is as the home-only part of the Big 12.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to go to BYU, you'd prefer not to have to go to BYU and Florida and West Virginia.
Yeah.
So to get one of those where you don't have to make the trip, and I believe Iowa State, we don't have to go up to Iowa State either.
That's good too.
Iowa State's here. So, I say
fly to Cincinnati, though.
Yeah, that's true. But, if you have to pick, they could make all of your road games the furthest away games.
Correct.
And even if and then throw Kansas in there too and really stick it to you.
Yeah.
But I think like Kansas State for me, that's one that we just have to see how they do. Tang is a great coach, but we do know they lost Keontae Johnson, they lost Noel, so they lost their two best players on that team to the NBA. So that's a team that we're getting in at Texas that we should be able to handle. Rebuilding Iowa State, you're not as worried about. They've been kind of middle. Oklahoma, Texas Tech, it's a new program again. We'll see if they're able to. I don't feel that anybody's going to be able to turn that program around as quick as Chris Beard did, just because he at that time was really the innovator of going full transfer portal.
Yep.
Man, that didn't last long. Well, in terms of that being your advantage.
Yeah, because everybody else figured that out quickly.
It didn't last long at all.
Yeah, no, everyone was like, how is Texas Tech in the Final Four?
And he did it.
What did he do?
And he did it before in the D2 level.
He did.
Yes, he
too.
brought all those guys from Division I schools, brought them to the D2 level, and realized that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. So he transferred it everywhere that he went.
But then he made it to the Final Four, and that will get you noticed very quickly. So I like it. I think that Texas Tech, as much as we saw their AD getting mad at Texas for saying that we're soft for not scheduling them every year and making it a rivalry, so it's good to have that matchup in there. But, yeah, Baylor and Houston is going to be a lot of fun for those home and aways. They're both very travelable destinations. You could get mad at Kansas, but other than that, I don't think there's anything that you really look at and go, dang.
Yes.
Right.
So Texas is going to U of H for football and basketball this year. In the last year of the Big 12. Interesting.
I'm taking that trip to Houston.
And I remember.
We're going to H-Town.
Yeah, that should be fun because U of H, basketball is phenomenal.
Oh, my gosh.
And football, as a matter of fact, I just saw Mattress Mac I think via NIL.
Yeah.
$1
million.
He contributed. Yeah, it was a lot of money.
I thought you were going to say the video of him in all the low riders.
I did see that. Yeah, he's riding the slab. I saw that too. But
he's protected. He is protected.
Oh, dude, he is. Yeah. He's a made man in H-Town.
He is.
He could walk.
Jay Prince helps him.
He could walk. He could walk around any neighborhood, even the hoods, the toughest neighborhoods in Houston, concrete jungles. He could walk around over and nobody would mess with him other than to ask for whether he needed help or to try to help him out or to ask for his autograph. Like, he's that kind of made man. And if you did do something to Mattress Mac, you need to watch your back. Oh, man, they coming for you.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. He is. He's an institution around there in H-Town, man. Everybody loves them some Mattress Mac. But it's crazy that he doesn't donate NIL stuff to Texas. Maybe he does, and I just don't know it. But he is a Longhorn, right?
No, he does. He is an advertiser at games because he has the thing where he's dancing with Bevo, telling everybody to get up.
Yeah,
but he loves Houston, though. I don't know I don't know which one he loves more. I think he loves Houston, the city.
Well, I think that also makes sense that he sells a lot more furniture in Houston than he does in Austin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about Texas, like the University.
No, I
of
get
Texas.
that. I'm saying, but if you're actually paying people in NIL to advertise for you or do whatever else for you, you'd probably spend more money in Houston because you're going to advertise more in Houston than you advertise.
Oh
in
no,
Austin.
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just talking about just money being a sugar daddy. He's more of a sugar daddy down there than here where he actually played, right?
Yep. He did. Our boy CB just told us. Like, he played at Tech. I think he was, I forgot who he was roommates with.
I know.
It was somebody that we all know.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I forgot who it was.
No, but Mattress Mac, he's a beloved figure. We should just say that in more than one city, but H-Town. He's gonna have a statue in that city somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know where it's gonna be at, but somebody's gonna erect a statue
right in front of Gallery Furniture.
Right in front of Gallery Furniture, and he's gonna be the one to put it up.
He can't do that. You gotta let H-Town do it for him. He does have his own money.
I got his own money.
All right, we come back. We'll get into some Astros, some Rangers discussion on the other side. Talk a little baseball right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, 512 Friday. That's when my man Patrick the Idillionaire plays songs from local bands and artists so that you have a chance to hear live in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Vision Arcade, and they are playing Saturday at Empire Control Room and Garage, all part of Hot Summer Nights is a thing the Red River does. Red River Collective and a bunch of bands are down there. They have a bunch of big shows happening all through this weekend.
Yeah, you ain't never lied about that. Yeah, Hot Summer Nights.
Hot Summer Nights is the name. It's basically a thing, the Red River Collective. Down there, all these clubs do shows, and a lot of them are free shows, and you can kind of go club to club and find all these great bands that are playing.
Nice.
That is real nice.
That is cool. Man, Patrick, always keeping you in the know with the 512 Friday, so we appreciate that. 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. You can always hit us up via Twitter as well, Hardball Harge, at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Before we talk a little Rangers here, big series coming up for the Rangers versus the Dodgers. Man, World Cup.
World Cup is happening. Women's
Starting
World
tonight.
Cup has started, and women's national team takes on Vietnam tonight at 8 o'clock.
It's on Fox, right?
It's on channel. Yeah, it's on
okay.
Fox.
Yeah, it's
Whatever your Fox channel is, that's where it's at. But yeah, and it's funny because during the break, I was telling Patrick the USA team in this game is a 5.5 point favorite.
Damn. Hold up. In soccer?
That was Patrick.
5?
That was Patrick's reaction as
How
well.
bad is Vietnam? Well, I know the women are, I mean, they're dynasty. They're dominant. I get all that. Is Vietnam that bad?
I guess they have to be an or we're that good.
No, this is what I said. This is like the Dream Team versus Lithuania.
Yeah, right? 5? That's
Yeah.
like 4 touchdowns.
And the money line is minus 75,000 to win 100.
Okay, so Vietnam,
Yeah,
it's a combination of both.
Yes, it's a combination.
Team USA is really good
It's
there.
really, really good. They have a lot of exciting players. We talked about Trinity Rodman before. Dennis Rodman's daughter. She's one of their best players. She will score some goals tonight. You got Alex Morgan. You still have some of the.
You got the star power from a few years ago. Yeah, the last one.
exactly. But
Yeah.
you brought in a lot of new players. You have an 18-year-old that is starting for this team.
Starting?
She is good.
Starting.
Well,
How-
she'll get a lot of playing time today.
Yeah, that's true. Man, that is that's actually because there's a lot of vets on this team.
There
like you
is
still
a
got
lot of vets.
some of the old school vets, like I said, from that last World Cup we remember from that
No
group.
doubt. No doubt.
Because man, I wonder how old their oldest player is. I'm not trying to like be insensitive. I wonder how because a lot of these women have been around a long time.
I think it's either going to be
Is it the goalie? What's her name? The one that
not Haran. Oh God, she's
You know
not
what I'm
still playing there.
she's not.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think I
Okay.
know who you're talking about.
So is this a question where the Vietnam coach comes out and just goes, all right, if no one cries and wets themselves tonight, we are winners.
We are winning. Hey, look, guys, we're in a pool. All we have to do, it doesn't matter what happens today, we'll get a chance to play again.
Yeah.
It's pool play right now, guys.
I'm in a bad situation where, like, if they don't beat them by at least 5, it's like, well, you underachieve.
Yeah,
You're supposed to blow them
exactly.
out. It's like the Astros playing the A's. It's like, if the A's win, like, one of them games, it's like, man, Astros, it
What
only
are
won
you
the
doing,
series. You're
Astros?
supposed to be sweeping them, man.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Don't get credit for stuff you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think the oldest player might be Julie Ernst, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, how old is she?
Or Megan Rapinoe.
Megan Rapinoe.
She's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been there forever.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
has
so-
been there. Her and
I
Julie
thought-
Ernst has been there for a while,
Okay.
too.
All
But
right.
Rapinoe, yeah, and Alex Morgan.
Alex Morgan has been there for a long
Yeah.
time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I will still say good luck to the ladies, but five
Good luck
and a
to
half.
Vietnam.
Yeah, right.
Good luck to Vietnam. Just make sure
Hey.
nobody gets hurt.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Would you take that bet? 5.5? Would you?
No, because I've seen them play before.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't know what I'd say to that.
You know what I'm saying?
But what, you seen the women play before?
Yeah, I've seen them. I mean,
But you haven't seen Vietnam.
I have not seen
They
Vietnam.
could be that bad.
Nah, that's very
But
good.
they did make the
The
World
women
Cup.
are very good. But 6-0.
Are they the top seed in
Yeah,
the
the women
World
are.
Cup?
They're
Team
predicted to
USA?
win it
Okay,
all.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right. And they are considered, they're not a dream team like Patrick mentioned, but they are a star-studded
Mm-hmm.
team and roster.
No doubt.
All right. So shout out to the ladies, man. USA. Yeah, my wife was really excited. She, her and her mom, getting ready. They having like some little mini watch party at the crib getting ready for the World Cup. So good luck to the ladies, and you can catch that on Fox. Also, good luck to the Rangers.
No doubt.
The Rangers have this start, post All-Star break start, guys, is probably as hot as any team right now in Major League Baseball. And they just had a series versus the Rays, and we kept saying this is a statement series versus the Rays. If you can win this series versus the Rays, you can really start to gather some momentum. Well, they not only won that series, they're still undefeated.
They are
post All-Star
6-0.
break. 6-0 post All-Star break.
6-0.
And now you got the Dodgers who are leading their division. Man, if they can win this series versus the Dodgers, I would think that the organization should start, because you got the trade deadline coming up. I would think that this would make them buyers, big-time buyers, because the belief if you can beat the Dodgers in this series, hell, I'm going to say sweep them, but if you can beat them in this series, that would make you, to me, a World Series contender. Like it's official.
Absolutely, and I think that's why this is going to be one of those series that everybody's paying attention to. As we talked about before, Craig Way is up in Arlington for this game. He's a huge Dodgers fan.
He's there wearing the jersey and the hat.
He's going to be dialed in. I can't wait to talk to
He'll
Craig
take some
about
pictures,
this.
I know.
For sure.
I'm waiting for someone to talk trash and then realize who he is halfway through talking.
Because he's wearing, he's
funny,
covered up, and they're like, wait a minute, a Dodgers guy?
He's yelling at him, then he talks back, and they're like, wait, I know that voice.
Yeah, no doubt. But yes, to your point, this is a huge series for both teams, but most importantly, looking at what the Texas Rangers are thinking about headed into this trade deadline. But it also can be a big series for the Los Angeles Dodgers because they can do the same thing. They can say, hey, we might need to look at that, but for our purposes, it's more about the Texas Rangers in this situation.
And I'll tell you this, it can be a big series for the Astros, because if the Astros sweep the A's and the Dodgers win the series, it's a two-game divisional series, and the Astros are going to play the Rangers right after.
Yep.
The Astros could technically, if things go not how we expect them to, we expect the Rangers to win the series, but if they don't go that way, the Astros could take over division lead by Wednesday of next week.
Wow, they're in prime pouncing position.
Yep.
So there is that point, and get Yordan Alvarez back and start to make a run. So I agree with you. I think whether you win or lose, it is time to be buyers for Texas because your team is playing really, really well. And you know, hey, man, this AL is open as it's been in a while. The Astros don't look like the Astros of last year.
They don't.
They look like they're taking a lump on them. The Yankees are clearly not there. They're fifth in their division. The Orioles are playing good, but they're young. Tampa Bay is starting to fall off a little bit. Toronto's around.
Tampa is falling off
the
hard
AL
right now.
Central's got Minnesota as the leader right now.
Oh,
Carlos
man.
Correa coming for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you start looking around the American League right now,
It's up for grabs.
it is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Your path to the World Series is there, and if you add a couple players, whew,
I'm with you, man. And I think the Rangers are going to win this series versus the Dodgers. Rangers,
I'm telling you, they are playing. I got a chance to see it up close and personal.
You've been bragging. You've been
I
saying
saw it in spring training. I saw it in the midway point, and then I saw them on Tuesday night. And they were playing. They play so well together, and we were talking about this before. The Marcus Semien, Corey Seager combination up the middle, at the top of the lineup as well. They are playing some really good baseball as a team. And that's the most impressive part because you don't know who's going to have the best night because
got
you got
so
all
many guys.
They got 6 All-Stars.
so many guys.
When's the last time the Rangers had 6 All-Stars?
Long time ago.
5 of them started.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. And they just get this guy to play well, this guy to play well, this guy to play well, and then we're all going to play well at the same time. And it's amazing. And you got good pitching, and you're doing this without Jacob deGrom.
I know. Just go get Shohei. Just go get him.
Gotta go
Just
get
go
him.
get him.
Find somebody.
And look, and you don't necessarily have to get Shohei if the asking price is too much, but there's other guys out there.
Yeah.
Like we talked about earlier,
there
Dylan
are some
Cease
guys.
is out there right now.
Cease is the guy that
And
everybody's
that
been
is
talking
a
about.
really good player that we know is on the trade block, and he's getting tied to a lot of teams. But that's another pitcher you bring in, and that is another arm for a playoff rotation that it gives you a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, Rangers fans got to be giddy right now. They'll be even giddier if the Rangers can win that series versus the Dodgers. All right,
And Framber Valdez is pitching tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I think tonight is
think he's coming
Framers.
back, yeah.
I
For the
think today
Astros?
is today is
Oh.
Framers too.
Well, they definitely better win.
Yeah, they
The
better.
A's, man. Yeah. Someone said
They
the
got
A's
you
win,
scared. They got you
If
nervous.
the A's win one game, then that's a bad series for the Astros. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, he is pitching against J.P. Sears, who is 1-6 with a 3.99 ERA.
That means they're gonna win.
Who?
The A's.
That's what the texters just said. Text said A's winning tonight. I'm like, man,
Come on, man.
please don't let that happen.
Come on,
it's gonna
man.
ruin my weekend. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up. Put it in the oven right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful, nothing horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap for us this weekend. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with them on the podcast page. All right, Harge, what's on tap for you this weekend, brother?
This weekend, I have a meet and greet with a bunch of the 254 is coming into town.
The 254?
Yeah, the 254 is coming into town. People are coming from all over the country. We're going to have a get-together because we don't get a chance to hang out.
Is it a reunion, basically?
Yeah, it's a reunion,
like
basically.
Class reunion?
No,
or
just a high school reunion.
Oh.
So if you went to our school,
no need to be what year you went.
Nah.
You can be
We originally was going to do it for 90, but there's too much happening.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of us that live here. We kind of see each other anyway.
Interesting.
But not have everybody
Okay.
together. And I'm also going to be watching the U.S. women tonight.
That's what I'm going to be watching tonight, too. My wife, she's watching it with her mom, so we'll probably be on a watch party call
There it is. I
together.
like that.
And I know your wife, huge soccer fan. She played at the highest levels. Patrick, what's on tap for you, brother?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a pretty relaxing weekend.
I love it for you,
Ooh.
Patrick. You
Are
deserve
you
it.
going to watch something other than sports because there's no sports for you to watch?
Yeah, who knows?
Man, because Patrick doesn't watch anything but sports.
Pretty much.
Well.
I watch some comedy stuff every once in a while.
Oh, there you go. All right.
But-
You should watch a comedy this weekend.
We'll see.
Hey, you don't have to go to a movie. You can just be in the movie.
I might try to go watch Oppenheimer by
Okay.
myself somewhere. And I'm
Okay.
going to do some research and see if I can get some tickets.
You can get them.
Yeah, I just want to go by myself and go watch it like
You'll
a
get
loser.
'em. You can
Yeah.
go. That's not a loser. That's
Well,
somebody that can keep them moving.
That's an adult.
That means you ain't got to.
No, but
You know what that means?
it's depressing.
You ain't got to say bye to nobody.
That is true.
Because you just don't ever say bye to nobody.
Well, that happens even at
That's what I'm
crowded
talking
club.
about.
I'm trying to get out of there, but still though, I'm gonna go by myself. We gonna hang out a little bit. People think you're lonely when you do that. It's like I'm not lonely. I just
No,
want to go.
I'm focused. I'm focused, man.
All right, I want to thank Obed Patrick for doing a great job as always. Thank Harge. Thank you, Harge, for all the work that you do as well, and thank the folks out there for listening. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other and have a great weekend. Peace.